Sorry, get you. It's you, and you were so early.
I'll call the meeting to order. Actually, on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for January 21st, our last meeting.
And I thought we had to take out number 7 because we did daily flat the week of meeting before. So number 7. Because we did only do,
That's Wagon, right?
yeah, we did Wagon, but Wagon is on number 12. So,
Okay, so that, yeah, so, okay.
yeah, so I know what she
Wait,
did
I'm not-
because, yeah, because I do the same thing with my minutes.
Right, yeah, she builds off of the
Yes,
last
that's
one.
the
Yeah.
old one. I do the same thing and sometimes I forget to take out stuff that I don't need to.
Okay, I got that marked.
Or
Yeah.
change the names or things like that, so.
Did
Oh, and then Wagon,
we correct?
Yeah,
spelling
of
of the
Wagon.
So it's doesn't matter here, but
WAUGA
Bailey was fixed on the ones for the last meeting.
Yeah.
I did it myself.
on Wagon,
Is that on this one?
on, yeah, number 12.
Yeah. AU, right?
Yeah, WAUGAN, yes.
Take number 7 out and fix the spelling on the other one. Then I'll renumber them.
No, that's the only thing I saw.
So I make a motion, we approve the minutes with those corrections.
Second.
With motion by Chris, second by Ken, approve the minutes with the 2 corrections. All those in favor?
I vote yes.
Thanks, Mark.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Mark. Hey, when are you coming back?
Well, my plan was mid-April, but my dad's not doing well. He's been in hospital, so I may be back soon.
Sorry to hear about that on both counts.
Thank you.
That sunburn.
Next are department reports and there's the this guy and there's Chuck.
The trail.
The Trails Committee wants to weigh in.
You wanna go?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Chuck Cover, the chair of the Trails Committee. So I just wanted to update you on sort of what's going on. We were approved at the end of November for our grant application to the Main Trails Program. And that was for a $203,000 grant from the Bureau of Parks and Land to fund the trail that would run behind the high school. There was a concept design that was done by Outdoor Sports Institute, and that supported the grant application recently. September, we've drafted an RFP. Our plan is to issue that on Monday and then give potential bidders 30 days to respond, have a workshop after that, and the Trails Committee would meet, then provide a recommendation for the select board, hopefully at the March 17th meeting. We're hoping to get this done sort of quickly because we anticipate there'll be sort of a rush for trail contractors as a result of the Main Trails Program. We were, successful. There were, a number of other successful grants. It was a competitive process. I think it was great that we were selected, but we're hoping to get this going so we could do the construction this summer and have it done. So that's
Chuck, what can we do to help you meet your tight deadline?
so hopefully, we'll work with Justin to get this issued on Monday. Have it go out on the town website. We also have a list of contractors that will be mailing it to. The RFP directs the application to come to Justin, and that'll be on March 11th, and then hopefully get a quick turnaround, get that to the committee. We could planning on doing a workshop before our meeting and sort of get together with you. We gotta figure out our schedules and, get a workshop, review them all, and then we'll have our meeting to make our decision on
Sure.
that.
So getting it posted to the website, can we also put it on the MMA?
Yeah, that's where I would put it there. I'd put it there too. There's an RFP section in there for
Okay,
public work.
all right. And we've got the RFP finalized now.
Yeah, it's
With the
finalized, and
approval
we've
of
got the MTP is, the main trails program is signed off on it, for it to be issued.
All right, so you're going to forward the most recent version to Justin?
Yeah, there, just a couple of tweaks on the dates, 'cause things took a bit longer, and we wanted to make sure that bidders had 30 days, so, we'll adjust the date, so for the issuance of, on, Monday, February 9th, and then the reply date on March 11th.
And then how would the how would the, evaluating the proposals, that process go? To what degree do we rely exclusively on the Trails Committee, or is there someone from the town that would also be interested or be part of that?
I don't know if Tony would want to take a quick peek at it just to see if the vendor is capable of doing the work that's proposed. Other than that, it's really up to however much due diligence that you folks want us to put into it on your behalf, or certainly you can take the recommendation from the Trail Committee, but ultimately it's your decision to make. So you can use that recommendation or not.
Just sorry to interrupt, but we've got folks who are in the waiting room
Oh, yeah.
waiting to get in.
Sure.
Okay. What other questions can we answer for you, Jeff?
If you have any questions.
All right, and there's like, I don't know, were you successful in getting, was it, who was the member who was gonna distribute to the 50 or so vendors that were listed on that spreadsheet?
Berlin, it was like 25. Yeah.
25?
Yeah.
Okay,
So, yeah, she's got an input, she'll get that, she'll mail that out directly, she'll take care of that, the direct mailing
Okay.
to those.
We can put the postage on it if it's all set to go. You can just drop them at the town office and we can run it
It's
through.
gonna be email.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
doing everything electronically.
Even better. But if you do need anything to go by, just drop it at the town office and
Okay.
we'll mail it out.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
I had one quick question,
Yeah.
maybe more so for Kent. Have we actually received that grant money? Is that in-house now, or will that be forthcoming?
that's good. Chuck would answer that one.
It's a reimbursement grant, so we've got to actually spend the money and then we get the grant money back.
Okay, and maybe Justin can answer this. Joe had just asked a question online you guys might not have seen, but he was questioning where the funds would come from until we got the actual grant money.
Yeah, it's usually, we're doing the same thing with the what's the one that we're waiting to receive?
Is it the culvert, the over in?
Yes, the culvert is one of those too. So what we do is we spend it basically because we have the promise from the state that once we complete the project, the money will come back. So it comes out of the town's money in the interim until the time comes that we get it reimbursed.
Okay, thank you.
We have a firm letter of commitment though before we move anything forward. So like we have a letter from the state that says this money has been awarded and it's held until we ask for it.
Yep, thank you.
There is, I think it's 25% they allow for a forwarding, so upfront, so we can get that, so that would not be subject to that time lag. But part of it anyway. And then there's the matching aspect too, that there's a 10% match, and which is being sort of divvied up between the town and the RSU. The RSU's half of that is cash and half will be. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, did you want to?
Yeah, I'm at the pleasure of the group. I'm happy to go over reports, or if it just makes sense to go through at my allotted time.
You want to wait until then you do your budget?
Yeah, sure. I think that might just be a natural. Thanks.
Do
You
you want
wanna-
to give an update on age friendly?
What?
Age friendly.
Oh,
Darlene's
you're,
the
you're
bigger
some
version.
age-friendly person.
I'm all age friends.
Certainly.
Just wanted to give a quick update on age friendly. Chuck is kind of the outgoing chair and I'm the incoming chair. So we are going to be at the T next week and we're going to be doing a survey kind of in conjunction with the recreation department, asking kind of captive audience that we have there what activities they'd like to see. So we'll actually provide a paper survey on the table with pencils and things for them to, go through and check off things. Would you be interested in a afternoon of playing board games, cribbage time, walking group, different things like that. So to get them engaged, and then we would work with Mike using this building and, based on what we get back for responses. We also have a full medical closet that has wheelchairs and other things that Chris.
Well, I printed those out.
To use next week. So like a transfer top bench, wheelchairs, commodes, walkers, all kinds of things, canes that Ellen very kindly. It only takes up his garage, helps us out with that. So people that are in need in town don't have to necessarily rent something. They can call that. We're doing the sand buckets still. So anybody that wanted a sand bucket, Chris has the buckets. And then we get
The Boy Scouts, Sean Schultz.
Sean and the Boy Scouts to deliver them and those type of things. So we're looking to be kind of a little more active in terms of being able to work with a rec department so that we have something maybe going on monthly or, a regular type of thing. And we're also going to be doing 3 different seminars. One is on scams and, different types of safety fraud things. And we're doing another drive safely, drive better when you're older type of thing, awareness. And then let's sleep. Yes, I knew there was one other one, but I was asleep there. No, one on how to better your sleep. So we've got a lot of things kind of in the pool going on for that. So we meet the last Wednesday of every month, 4th Wednesday, excuse me. Say the 4th because sometimes there's 5. The 4th Wednesday of each month at 11:30 right here. And that works out really well versus the basement of the library because this is more accessible for some of the people that come, and it's easier for people that have auditory issues to hear in this building as well. So that's all I have.
Thank you. So, did you want to wait until
It's up to you. I
Sure.
got 2 different things to talk about. I mean, I can update you on plowing and all that and then go to the budget later.
You want to do that now?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was here the first part of January and gave you the sob story about our salt problem. Boat coming from South America, gonna be here on the 21st. That was of January. So it's the 4th of February, no boat. I can't get them to tell me this is what happened, but I'm 99% sure. So New York, Boston, there, all them states, no salt storms. Triple the money. Bringing that salt there. So that's those both, I know there's three of them took left turns and they're not here. They're not even telling me what week now, so. Needless to say, pretty tight on salt.
This is kind of why a salt shed would be helpful.
So I'll get to that in a minute. So several weeks ago, contractors got completely shut off. So if Monmouth subbed out snow plowing to Kent Ackley's construction company, you can't get any salt.
Right.
Doesn't matter that he's using it for a town, you can't buy it because they have contracts with us, the towns, so I'm able to access it. Albeit they're pretty stingy with it. And you know, when they have a salt pile, there's 200,000 tons in there. They're done, you can tell they're at the bottom of the pile because it's called caking with salt, and the water sits down there, it chunks up. Well, you're not getting chunks like this, you're getting chunks like this. So this is a huge waste. That's good for next year. That's, you know, other than that. So sparingly using salt, we have enough now for probably 2.5 storms. And we're at max capacity. It's one of them deals, if we can only hold 3 loads. That gets us through a week's worth of storms this year. If we could hold 10, you know, we'd be in a better position where we can manage what we're using. So I'm working on a salt storage facility, again, not for this year, but, for next year. Plowing wise, since the 1st of December, we've had 1 weekend off. That was this past weekend that we didn't have to work at all. You know, the forecast for the big storm was we weren't gonna get nothing, then we were gonna get an inch, then we were gonna get 2 inches, and then 6 feet, so. That was a tough weekend for the crew. It snowed for, about 35 hours. Makes it pretty tough with 1 crew. So, on Monday, late Monday afternoon, early evening, we went home. Luckily, there was no traffic. People did listen and stay home. And then we were back in at 3 a.m. So we had a 19-hour shift, went home, got about 6 hours sleep, and we're here for another 14 hours. And that was just that 1 storm. So we were tired. I get grumpy when I'm tired and they found that out. Other than that, things are going pretty good. This past, we've gone a pretty good stretch since that storm. We've concentrated on cleaning sidewalks, intersections. You know, people do call up with a problem intersection and we go get it. I think we've pretty much gotten everything. If you see know of an intersection, feel free to call and we'll take care of it. But we're pretty well caught up. Now it's just get all the equipment ready for the next one. Our sidewalk machine is down. We're waiting on parts. Hopefully we get those sometime early next week. And the actual repair is probably 3 hours. So once we have the parts, we'll be back up and running, but 10 days to get the parts here. So they don't hold them up, you know. Specialty equipment, they don't put a pile of parts on the shelf because they're so expensive, so you end up waiting. These come out of Canada, so. So I think that updates you because all we've been doing is. So if you have any questions.
How about the transfer station compactor thing?
Well, I was gonna do that when I talked to budget, but
Okay.
so as I'm sure everybody knows, it's been a little chilly. So the compactor trailers, we've been having issues with them. Hydraulics are cold. We actually have heaters that we plug in, but there's, a couple hundred gallons of hydraulic fluid in these things, so you don't keep them warm and then you can't get them to move. And that causes a problem because the one where it won't move is in the trash bin where everybody throws the trash and we can't open the door. Or we got one, we can't start, it can't run, so we can't swap them out. We have, I think it only happened once. It may have been twice, may have been a winter. But when the trailer gets full, we don't have another trailer, so we've closed that. I think we made it to 2:30.
I think I've only
Justin.
seen one post on.
Yeah.
I only remember.
So we posted right off that, okay, we're closing.
It's just after the holidays.
So, our trailers are, we go from 19 years old, the newest one is now 7 years old. These things do a lot of work, they're mechanical, they're working in tough conditions, they're full of trash all the time. We haven't replaced one in years, and we're gonna have to. I mean, that's jumping to the top of the priority list, but I'll talk that when I get to the budget. It's just a hurdle. I don't know, it's been damn cold, what I call it. It's pretty bad now, 5 degrees, and you go, not too bad. Any other questions? Perfect. You'll have more.
I guess just for the sake of brevity here, Anthony from Winthrop and I, we met with the town manager in Manchester today. We're going to try to advertise for a combined CO person for the three of our towns. Manchester's had a pretty steady, they've been lucky. They haven't been through a lot of ACOs. Us and Winthrop have had a hard time finding anybody to do it. So we're going to work together. They're going to be an employee in Manchester.
Animal control.
Officer, sorry. So we went and we met today and tried to hammer out a framework. Manchester would be the employer, so it's just us contributing some money to them to try to offset some of their costs. And hopefully that'll help. Right now, both Winthrop and Monmouth, we loosely use the PD for that. It's not ideal because you're not supposed to put humans and animals in the same area in a car, so they're really not supposed to put animals in the back seat of their cruisers. And it's really a distraction and they have other things to do. So if you call and they're doing something else, then nobody's coming. So we really just need somebody that can kind of take care of this. Other than that, it's just been kind of a lot of paperwork the last week or so. I'm on vacation next week. I'm in early next week, but then I'm gone. So I'm trying to get a bunch of reports in for the different grants and things that we have done. So other than that, I'll answer any questions you have, other than working through the budget for everybody.
Thank you. Welcome. Where are we on the audit?
So Mark is done. I have transmitted the information to RKO. They are doing end of year audits for people that are December 30 people. So I've reached out to RHR, which is another major municipal firm, and I have a meeting with them early next week to see if they can fit us in their schedule. So if we did that, I'd be back to you because I'd need permission to switch auditors.
From RKO.
Yes.
Wow.
If they're capable of doing it. I mean, I don't know. I have a meeting with them. At least they called me back. I mean, that's step one. Most of the time, if you go right on some of the municipal auditor websites, it says we are not taking new clients. Don't call us. But they were willing to call me, but I think probably because we do the pre-audit with Mark. So for the auditor, it's a lot less work for them to actually dig into all our paper. They know they're going to kind of get something in a box with a bow on it. So they might be more interested because they're going to just kind of collect their check and run.
And Casey knows about.
He's aware. He knows that if we want it done sooner rather than later, they're going to cut us loose because they can't meet those types of demand. They have too much work. We either wait for them to put us back into their schedule or we try to find someone else. So I'm trying to go down both paths and see what happens.
Not cut off our nose to spite our face.
That's right. I'm trying to keep RKO okay while also investigating other
Exactly.
things to see if it'll work.
We have somebody, we don't want to lose that somebody.
Right. We don't want to be left with nobody.
Have we heard anything from the engineering firm on the Anabescook Dam?
No, I haven't received anything from them in a little while. I haven't talked to Wendy in over probably 2 weeks. I'm happy to reach out to her. She's been the one that's been in contact with them more than I have. So let me check on that for you.
Tony?
So I just talked to them today, not the engineer, Topsy Watershed.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So we've been having an issue with Anabescook. We took out all the boards and water kept going up. We can't get any more boards out until the waters come down. We're just, if you went and looked at it, you'd understand. It's hard to explain, but you're taking a mouth, 5 times this room and the opening is 2 feet. So all the water has to go up through here. So we're about 1.5 feet above the top board that we can see. We know there's at least 3 more, so we're hoping before spring. It's actually gone down some now, very little, slowly, but we're hoping that we can get the other boards out, replace those, because the middle board of the 3 is broken. But we can't get, we have to have the water down to get it out, so they're monitoring that for us, and that's gonna definitely play into where we go down the road.
While we're on the topic of dams, I'll just mention real quick. The first part of the meeting over in Manchester was to discuss the Cobussy Dam has received a failing grade from the state dam inspector. So they are moving forward on the Manchester side with the resilience grant like we did to get the engineering study done. But they wanted to give us a heads up that that's a 4-town project if they need. Manchester has gone ahead and they've shored it up. So there isn't any immediate risk, but we're in the same boat with that dam where in the next couple of years, they're going to come back to, it would be us, Winthrop, West Gardner, and Manchester would be the towns involved in that.
Litchfield too?
Yeah.
There's some in Litchfield.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Yep, the end down there is in Litchfield too. But
They did a whole rebuild.
yeah, I guess there's a lot of scoring on the concrete. They fixed some of the water seepage issues, so they took care of the immediate concerns, but I guess the report from the state indicated that more extensive work needed to be done. So they're gonna do a study and see what that work is. We don't know anymore, but I just wanted to, it's on the horizon that somebody's gonna come and ask for support for that too. But seems like we'll replace every dam in the watershed in 10 years.
No, we paid Manchester a lot of money back not too long ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did you get anything from Paul Roop?
He came in today to update me on it. He thought that he would have at least some type of preliminary thing that he could share with you at your next meeting.
Okay.
He didn't have anything for tonight, but he did say that I'm not sure how sure he was about all this, but he was skeptical that there was enough room where we thought we wanted to go, but he's going to check a different avenue to get into that site further up the road. And he's not sure yet. He's going to look a little further up the street to see if there's another avenue.
And in the meantime, what do we need to do to close the deal?
We have a 30-day closing, so right now we're just kind of letting the clock.
Okay. And do we need to call a town meeting or can we just use the TIF?
No, we can use that on TIF. So what I would do is as we get probably either at your next meeting or trying to think when we sign it. Yeah, so it'd have to be your next meeting I would bring, because I need you to vote on expending money out of the TIF.
Okay.
And then we could just move ahead with it. Probably by that point, I'll probably have you vote on that one and the Wilson Pond boat launch at the same time.
Okay.
And thing I wanted to ask, is we talked about doing an ordinance for the signage in public way, advertising
Yes,
signs.
so there is actually the last session, there's a state law which allows the road commissioner to pull them out of public ways. So if they're in the right of way. So his crew actually went out and pulled them at the end of the year. That's why they
So
disappeared.
we don't need to do the ordinance?
Don't think you do.
Perfect,
Yeah.
that's a good solution.
I don't like the sign, so we
Yeah.
pay attention to them.
Yeah, they're hard to see.
The election signs have different
Well,
protections.
exactly, but
but
like
those-
advertising,
Correct.
yeah,
Commercial signs don't have
Yeah.
the same, if they're in the right of way.
they're hard to see, but, so that's good, and then the solid waste is coming back around,
Yes.
we'll have that ready. Okay, perfect, those are the two things, so at least we'll only have one.
I think your next meeting is the public hearing, so I'll have it for that meeting so that we can do that all at once.
That's good, you don't have to fool around with an ordinance for the signs.
Yes.
It's good for those signs.
So, on to, select board reports.
Nothing?
Question about, it said, we've received the appraisal for the Wilson Bond launch, and the appraisal came in at 20,000. It says then you require the town to pay 15. But it doesn't. 15 and 10 to make.
Because we signed a PNS for 25,000 on it. And the state will only reimburse us for 50% of the appraised value. So the appraised value came back lower. I have requested from the seller whether we can buy it for the 20 instead, and they're pondering that idea. Yep.
You have anything?
I had talked with Justin and Richard a while back. We had a little discussion about campers that were being set up on properties and lived in as residents. And I think maybe we should try looking around at other towns and see if anybody is putting together any kind of ordinances against this. It's not a problem in Monmouth yet, but I do a lot of traveling around in the fall, and I'm seeing it in a lot more rural areas. There are a lot of people living in campers. Becomes the plumbing issue, and it's something we want to keep in mind. We don't want to start detracting from people's property values because, there are campers set up as residences. And I know Justin and I had talked about it. We've had a lot going on, but something we should be thinking about in the near future, just to see what other towns are doing.
Dave's got his hand up.
It's already an LD state law, 180 days. You're only allowed to keep it on your property for 180 days. You have to relocate it. That's an LD already on the books.
This turns into an enforcement issue, right? Everything with codes, you can. The enforcement is really asking them to comply, and if they don't, you have to go to court, so it costs the town money. So there's a certain amount of kind of leeway you give people before you start incurring costs onto the taxpayers. That's kind of the issue.
It's always been the.
Right, that's always the issue with these things. They're not easy to, we can't just go out and hook onto it and haul it off. It doesn't.
Then, next public comment.
Yes, I have a question. The governor let LD 1971 become law without her signature. And that is the statute that controls, well, they call it the act clarifying the relationship of state and local law enforcement agencies with the federal immigration. The state police are acting now as if that was in full force and effect. But it doesn't become law, I don't think, until 90 days after the legislature
That's correct.
adjourns. I confirmed that with everybody.
Yes.
No, so, but they are acting, the state police are acting as if it is already in effect. Is the Monmouth Police Department, did they adopt a similar policy?
Monmouth Police Department doesn't interact with ICE as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware at all.
Would they do with border,
Yes, they do.
patrol, which is,
On occasion, I'm just saying, but there has been no interaction with ICE. I've confirmed that with Chief Ferlin. If they're in town, they don't notify the local police that they're here. So that,
in the past, I think they've called the border. Patrol. So,
yes, I believe the chief has mentioned that as well. And I mean, I'm not a police officer. I don't know their daily operations, but
so are they adopting the same policy as the Maine State Police?
no, the Maine State Police operate under the authority of the governor, and she has ordered them as employees of hers to act in a certain way through a memorandum. Memorandum doesn't influence any other police department that's not under her jurisdiction. So she can do it to, a drug enforcement or any of those agencies, but she doesn't automatically control. My assumption would be that most police agencies are going to follow the law until it takes effect.
Ginger?
So I would say that I have the same interest that Joe has. I was hoping that we would consider following the directive that was issued by the Maine State Police on that. I would also note that on December 8th, Rockland changed their city code to do something similar. When we spoke earlier with the police chief about whether they were going to do the 287G arrangement or not, I mean, he said to us, and one of the officers said that they were trying to learn more about things and trying to understand this better because it's federal law and they've just been changed in state law. So I would say, I mean, part of what this new state law does, and though it's not perfect, everybody represents that, is it does provide a little bit more of the clarity that it seems to me they were looking for. So I mean, I would hope that we would look at what the state police are doing and seeing if it gives us a little bit more clarity if we face those situations. There's also another law going through the legislature right now, what is it, 2016, that it's looking like it's, it's too soon to say whether it's going to go by, and it certainly won't be an emergency pass. But again, it's concerns about ICE coming in to the library to get information about, who have library cards, to coming into the health clinic. And so hopefully Maine Municipal is like keeping you all up to date on all of this. But I really would hope that you would look at the directive of the Maine State Police and see if any of that would be helpful here.
Well, would the select board have the authority to direct the police department to follow the policy that the Maine State Police are following?
As Rockland did,
Yes. Well, you have that power. Why don't you exercise it?
I would want to ask that question. I'm not sure that they do. Because state law is state law. Towns can't supersede anything that the state law says. So I'm not sure what their authority is. I am happy to look into this for you. I can try to get an opinion from the town's attorney about whether that's a good idea or not.
I was hoping that this topic would be on tonight's agenda so that we would have all of the community here to weigh in. And I see Hugh got his hand up.
Big thing is the person that we need to have here isn't here because of a crisis intervention at the school. So that's why the chief isn't here, and chief is doing something very important right now. So the person that I would want here to answer these questions isn't. So that's the important part.
Mr. Chair, I think Hugh's arm's gonna fall off.
No, I'm not done. Mr. Chairman and board of selectmen members, very disappointing that this conversation continues in the vein that it continues. It's sad and it's historic. Federal government, federal law supersedes the state. And despite what some folks have said in this room, there's a significant portion of the citizens of Monmouth that are ardent supporters of ICE and are very appreciative of their existence and the job that they do. And a very similar agency is the Border Patrol, and we're very grateful for what they do. If anyone did any research, they would find that we've had our own incidences here in Monmouth, and people have been escorted away and escorted out of the country that were here. There's all kinds of, there's 5,000 to 6,000 people estimated in the state of Maine that shouldn't be here. I forget the number, there was some 750 people that were escorted out of the state. I don't know what that time frame was. It was either 6 months or a year, I believe. It's, despite what the media opposes all the time, which I don't thread with the local media, I think we need to be supportive, excuse me, of the rule of law, federal law. And I think this is really sort of paddling in the water, a dog paddling. We're not going to supersede the federal law, but despite what anybody wishes or hopes. And I will say that there's lots of us that watch and listen. And if we detect anybody we feel is an illegal immigrant or a criminal, they're going to be turned into the ICE or the Border Patrol or the appropriate authority. And I will say that I believe that our police department would diligently do their duty as the rule of law directs. Thank you.
If I could just make one more comment. In the governor's comments about the passage of that law, we did note that in 2025, that 80% of the people detained and arrested by federal facilities had no criminal record. So I will just throw that out there. And I think most of us support deportation of convicted criminals who Nazis. That is not where our concerns lie.
I think one of my concerns is, like Chief Ferland's input on, if ICE does come into our community and someone is using their First Amendment right to record ICE, will they protect the citizens of Monmouth for exercising that right? Because that is something that we're seeing all over the country isn't being protected, even here in Maine. So I would like that answer by Chief Ferland.
So will this be on the agenda next Wednesday, or how will we know? Because I only knew about that this might come up tonight because somebody called.
Well, I'd ask the town manager to, again, put it on the agenda for the meeting tonight. For a meeting for 2 weeks from now.
You're all in agreement?
To do what?
Well, I guess that's a question for.
To have the conversation and
Yeah.
to hear from the chief, to give the chief some time to tell all of us.
Well, if he can't be here, then maybe whoever's next in line of this chain of command could come with answers or be prepared to bring questions back to him.
Knowing this, maybe this isn't my place, but knowing Chief Ferland, I think you want it to come from him. Donna, you weigh in because you know him way better than I do, but working with him and knowing that, I guess walking a political tightrope, and I don't think that is the job of any of you on this board to do that. So to me, you're not, the select board is not the personnel manager of the police officer. They follow the letter of the law. They always have. We're lucky to have them in town. And I think if we get off onto this if we go down this road of trying to nitpick which side is right, it's futile.
Personally, I don't want to get involved in like what the police department, what laws they follow. I know they've taken an oath to defend the Constitution, and I won't say any more about it.
No, I'm right there when you're done, because I wouldn't tell Tony or tell his crew how to manage what they do. I wouldn't tell Mike how to do what he does. I wouldn't tell, you know, the police how to do their job. It's not, or the fire department how to go into a burning building. That is not my job. It's not my area of expertise, and politics. Right, left, center is not what the select board is about, so.
I am in total agreement too. We've hired Paul to do the job. He does this job very well. We have him in 2 towns now. He's doing an awesome job, and Paul is going to do the right thing that he needs to do.
Any other public comment?
Are you suggesting that the Maine State Police are not following the law?
Yes.
Oh,
No,
Don't answer that.
no.
Come on.
Don't answer.
Yeah, I don't think should we be discussing it? I mean, even, that's not,
Sometimes there are hard questions that you have to answer. And then you just have to answer them.
Not to anyone to answer that question.
I think as representatives of the community, it's okay to ask Chief Earl to provide those answers in a form that residents can go back to and listen to. I think it's okay for us to ask that of him.
They can pick up the phone and call him anytime they want and have that conversation. I don't think it needs to be done in a forum like this. Because there will never be an agreement. Never.
Well, I'm not saying it's so much for discussion, just for him to give what the department's stance is on it. I
It
think
would
that,
be different in every case you brought in front of him. You can't ask that question specifically because it depends upon the incident. Depends upon who's in the car that they stop. You know, they stop somebody and they're from the Philippines and they have no ID. What, you know, what do you want them to do? They have to make a judgment call based on the moment that they're there. So it comes down to making a call based on the predicament that they're in at that moment. And you can't, you know, hindsight is always 20/20, but you can't predict what's going to happen. And they do the best they can with each situation that's presented to them by following what they have to do.
are you okay? You sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
With a little levity here, I don't normally,
Agree.
get all the everything she said.
I mean,
We're making friends.
at opposite ends of the spectrum, but we feel the same in that we can't solve that here. We can't solve that between 5 select board members. It's not something that'll ever happen.
Sorry. Are there any more public comments? Yeah, okay. Next is a budget workshop for Public Works, the transfer station, and culture, the library, and recreation. Why, yes. Well,
Expand it.
Don't
You going first.
Yeah. Hey, wants to go home.
We'll go home for a little while. Do you want me to just highlight the big changes?
Yes.
Publicly repeat mine.
Yes.
Yeah. you'll see 100% increase in dues. That's just me being a member of the American Public Works. Travel, I took 15,000 out of there. This year, we had a contract come in and make a bunch of gravel in our pit. And our gravel, great and usable gravel for us. Think we probably have 3 or 4 years worth of gravel now utilized, so I cut that expense way back. We don't really.
That was the rock crushing that was done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Medical exams, we're probably gonna have a couple openings, so I bumped that up a little bit. Gas. Yeah, I'm gonna use a bad word, I'm assuming. That, gas price is gonna stay below what we've been paying, so, I'm anticipating no increase in fuel. Safety equipment I went up on because it's just costing us more and more money to provide all the safety gear, so that pretty much sums up public works. Anybody has any questions on that one? This was all done with the instructions to keep, well, the goal is 2%, so. That put me at minus 2%, 2.3% on public works.
Yeah, it's a bad news.
And that just depends on what type of a winter we've had.
Yeah, well, it's always. In our little world, we all know that the budget's completely driven by schools. They dictate, so that's why we're a July budget. But we do a bunch of work in the summer into the fall. Then we see how we survive winter. When we see in the spring, okay, we got this much money left, we can do this much work. We have no money left, we're not doing much, it's just, that's the way you meet the budget and now. Okay,
Can you predict the weather yet, Tony?
I'm trying. Can't get tomorrow right, so. You're gonna give me the forecast.
Right, what's that?
I get paid more.
Wasn't that what they say? You know, the only job you get paid
Be
is
that
an
wrong, yeah.
economist or a weather forecaster. You get paid regardless of whether you're right or wrong.
Worked for me.
Transfer station. So, we're a member of Maine Waste to Energy down in Auburn, the plant, right? They've had several major plant failures in the last 2 years. They made a lot of money. They don't have any surplus. They can't do a shutdown right now because they don't have enough money to refurbish their equipment. We had been cruising along because we're members. So there's members and then there's non-member communities that take their trash there. Why are we a member? Because we bought in back when they built it. So we were part of the group that, and we built this plant. We had to pay off that debt service. And we benefited by having cheap trash removal to there. We've been paying $47 for a long time. This year it went to $54 a ton. Still nowhere near what the plant needs to run. So the board, we're in the midst of trying to solidify the budget. I'm on the board. The cheapest we're gonna be is $81 a ton, which is a 50% increase to what we're doing right now. This is just household trash. It could go as high as 88, but reading the room, there's a lot of communities that just can't go have that massive of an increase. So I'm pretty solid footing on $81. So that's gonna bring us up to 121,000 for trash removal, okay? Now, that's just the trash. Goes in the hopper. We still have to truck it. So we're trucking it to another 80,000. So trash is expensive. We're spending 200 grand on household trash. We do not charge any household charge, which I'm fine with. Household hazardous waste, okay, chemical stuff like that, it's very expensive. And I'm not, this is just what happens, okay? People show up at the transfer station, we have a place for waste oil. We take the waste oil, motor oil and stuff like that, we have a spot for it. Our guys are busy, the place is busy. We'll go by the oil waste thing 3 hours later, and there's 4 jugs of who knows what. Household hazardous waste, somebody's just left it in a jug. Very expensive for us to get rid of. It's $1,000 just for them to do their setup and show up, and then you pay by the pound or by the gallon or what they haul off. So I've raised that to fit more realistically to what we had budgeted this year 1,500. Last year we spent 4,200, just north of 4,200. So there's a gap there that we need to close. That's always going to show up. We like to believe everybody's honest. They don't want to pay for what they got to get rid of. Okay. I'm anticipating an increase on of 7% on the transportation that we pay for the trash. Well, I cut $1,000 out of repairs just because I try and keep this thing as low as I possibly can. This is where we get into the big stuff. If you've gone to register your car this year, I think if you get a transfer station sticker, it now has a number. So you have to. That sticker number is assigned to a license plate. I think you guys, this has been the case in the past, and we had to go back to it. Because people don't wanna, for some reason, they don't wanna put their sticker on their windshield.
Move it from vehicle to vehicle.
Yeah, so now we're gonna make some more assumptions that they give it to their neighbor over in Litchfield or Winthrop or wherever. So now we're generating a spreadsheet. So if Hugh shows up, he's got sticker number 0001 and he's got license plate 567G. We know, okay, that's you, it belongs to this vehicle. But if we look up that number and it's a totally different license plate, okay, you're not dumping it. As I just explained, the trash very expensive.
How is that gonna work with the non-residents who have out-of-state plates?
So they have to go to the town office, prove they have but they still have a license plate on it. It might be a Massachusetts plate. They're still gonna have a license plate. They're not gonna drive up from Massachusetts with 3 different vehicles and, they're gonna put this sticker on. I was talking to a guy just yesterday. He goes, I have 6 vehicles. I only use 2 to go to the transfer station. I only need 2 stickers. We got caught in the pattern of handing them out like they're pieces of gum. And we were handing them out at the transfer station, trying to be helpful to everybody. But sometimes when you're nice, you get taken advantage of. And That's my belief for what's been happening.
So my question for you with that is, when it is busy, how will the folks that are manning the transfer
Well, the
station?
sticker's gotta be on the windshield.
Yes, exactly. But if they're busy and somebody's down below and somebody's, taking money at demo,
It's impossible to make it.
it is impossible because
Make
I
it-
had, I had somebody just recently ask me about that because there was a car from Pennsylvania there. Okay, so maybe they did own property, but why is this car from Pennsylvania here? But nobody was around.
Right.
Because there was a
Well,
guy
that's,
down below and there was a
totally
guy,
right.
taking money for the 6 mattresses out of,
And
so-
when does the sticker have to be on the top? Cause like mine isn't on right now. It's in the little thing, cause I've gone out with the scraper to take the old one off and put the new one on, cause it's been too cold. So when is the,
Probably wouldn't stick.
So you do not need it on your windshield till you go to the transfer station.
well, I go to the transfer station
Well,
once a week and it hasn't been on there.
Are you
So-
gonna check the number on the sticker to the license plate? You have,
not on
a sheet?
you're gonna have the sheet.
So if you're gonna check the number to the sheet, why do I have to put it on the windshield? I'll just show
Well,
you
no,
my sticker.
because-
You take a look at it and
Because-
transfer it.
Because the guys at the transfer station know you that go they know Darlene that goes there. They know you that goes there. They know when the unfamiliar face shows up.
Saying, when are we as a group going to say you have to have that, but you can't go on the last year's one?
Right,
Because I still have my last year's one on.
you're supposed to go get.
Right, that's what I'm
So
saying.
what's supposed to happen right now is, sorry, Darlene, you don't have this year's sticker, you gotta go.
That's what I'm saying, is, are they in?
No, the stickers goes by calendar year.
Okay, that's the answer.
That's what we
That's
need to
the
know.
answer. The calendar year, because
So
they
the-
always
the-
used to
the
be by
25 stickers, no
registration.
good.
But my registration is November, so I was gonna wait until November to get my
Exactly.
26.
So that's our answer
So that's,
right
that's
there.
good for us, because now Dave's not bringing any trash. He's going.
You better bring 14, 15 mattresses like everybody else in town, apparently.
I dig a hole.
Something that maybe.
Yes, I think so. That's a nice little Facebook post for Dennis to do, letting
Yes.
people know that the sticker is 2026. And if you don't have a sticker for the transfer station, you need
With
to
a number.
go. With the number on it, you need to go.
What color are they?
You put it in the messenger, so,
Yellow.
yeah. So
Yellow.
the messenger won't come out again until the next
Right.
quarter, so maybe Dennis, have Dennis do a little Facebook thing and maybe
I'll send him a picture of the new sticker.
yeah.
Or Dave, what you could do is just wait until November and bring your 11 mattresses down.
Well, no, Dave, you might have a problem.
Yeah.
Because
There we go.
Right.
Car wash, let's see in, scan your sticker.
So as you know, I've been preaching this for 2 years.
Yeah.
How bad demo is for us. So, just last year, we did all the money we took in. Now, this was all the money, including tires, everything else. Just on the demo side, we were upside down $34,000. So, I'm saying that as a community, subsidized somebody to the tune of $34,000. We have a lot of issues with demo over there. It's the one thing that causes arguments of people to our staff. They're very rude to them, they swear at them, my guys get upset, rightfully so. So far, they've not responded. I've told them, call me and I've talked to the people. They really don't like what I tell them, but, that's, people don't want to pay for stuff. So, to keep if we don't, we got options here, and obviously it's gonna be your decision and the community. My budget, is to eliminate demo completely, just do away with it. People are allowed, they can go to Maine Waste to Energy to get rid of it. There's options for people to get rid of the demo. Communities all around do it. It would, right now, the budget for, just for demo is, 68,000. Just got our revised budget as of December 31st. Where we are year to date. Every line I've got is between 48 and 52%, except for demo. We've spent 63% of, or 67%, because I have 43 left. 33. Demo. Now, is it slow right now? But when camp season comes, that's when it really ramps up. So my budget to you eliminates demo, which saves us 68,500. Now, if we want to keep demo in, what are the options? A, we got to go way up on the budget line because the cost is going up, as it's going up with everything. The trucking will go up. So that 68,000, for me to feel safe, we're gonna have to go to 100,000. So that's about a $32,000 increase. That will get us to about what I think the cost will be.
Plus the dirty,
But,
plus the dirty wood too. You gotta add that back into, right?
well, the dirty wood's all built in.
It's on out of the line, right? The wood removal.
Oh, yeah, wood, no, I'll get to that.
Okay, sorry. I'm getting ahead of you.
Trying just to get the demo.
Yeah, okay.
Now, the part B of the demo is how do we equitably charge people for demo? We get charged by weight. Okay, the canister goes out, it's all by weight. We have too many variables of Kent brings in a pickup truck. He's got plastic, something he's taken down off his house, and he's took the siding off it. He's trying to get rid of that. Well, he goes, this doesn't weigh anything. Hugh comes in with a pickup, he just took the roof off his house.
Shingles.
That same pickup truck, we're losing a lot on that one. We may be breaking even on yours, so. The problem we have is it costs a lot of money. It's costing too many people that just use the transfer station for garbage money to pay for other people to get rid of their trash. My thoughts on it is we're being abused by contractors. Either the contractor lives in town or he says he's working for somebody in town, but he might be working for Dave, charges Dave $500 for removal, comes over, pays us $40, and then we're paying the project. The other piece to get rid of is dirty wood. Have you guys been over the transfer station lately? I'm guessing most of you have. The dirty wood pile we had ground in August. Okay, there's north of 2,000 cubic yards of stuff there. For 5 months. It makes no sense where that's coming from. That stuff costs us quite a bit to grind. Like the brush we grind, we pay $8 a ton. The dirty wood, we're paying 80. So it's the 80 a ton plus setup fee. The setup is about $2,000 because they have to mobilize all their equipment here. If you've been there when they've done the grinding, we're talking big equipment, so it's quite a cost.
I have one question before you.
Oh, I'm sure you're gonna have several.
No, just one. When I throw something in the hopper that is household trash, and you haul that away, how much a ton is that? And if I take cardboard and put it in with the plastic and the cans and all of that, how much a ton is that?
So today,
Well, it's two questions,
Yeah.
but it's,
okay, that's.
he knows where I'm going.
So today, it's cost $54. July 1st, my assumption is, reading what I'm seeing in the meetings, it's gonna be $81. That's a ton. Could be 88, it's gonna be no less than 81. I don't think there's support to get to 88. You put stuff in recycle, costs $115 a ton.
Right.
Which,
What about next year? Or
okay, so we don't know what the cost is gonna be next year, but this is what we're running into for a problem at recycle. We fill a trailer, so we fill 3 trailers of trash to one of recycle. We take the recycle trailer down to Eco Maine. Sometimes we get refused. When we get refused, it goes to the trash. Or if they offload it and they're not recycling 100% of what I've heard as high as 40% of that goes to the trash. So they're charging us $115. They're taking it to the trash, 80. So now we're losing $35 right there, just a ton just on.
I don't put anything in recycle because I don't want my tax dollar in 140 when I can throw it all in the hopper and next year it'll be 88. Maybe I'm not a good steward of the state because I'm not recycling, but I'm being a good steward for the town.
So there used to be markets for recycle. So sometime over the past, whatever years, 5, 10, who knows? Monmouth went to single sort recycling. So they go down there and they just store it. So now they have no market for glass. Glass goes in the trash. There's only like 2 plastics that there's any market for. The rest of it goes in the trash. They separate out the ones they like and they get rid of that. Cardboard is the one commodity that you can get paid for. The problem is, to get any money for it, you have to have separated it and baled it. So here's our options there. Do we want to buy a baler? Start baling our own cardboard and selling it? Definitely an option. I mean, in the Amazon world, and my house, Chewy world, a lot of cardboard. I don't know, they come every week. So that's the options on recycle. Can I just finish about, go back to the demo? So demo, to me, the only reasonable solution, if we want to continue with demo, is we've got to buy a scale and weigh the vehicles so that we're charging what it's costing us to get rid of. And so if it's costing us 80, we'd have to charge in the 140 range because we got to pay for the trucking. So there's more to the whole puzzle. But trash has become very expensive. Recycling is very expensive. Demo is ridiculously expensive. So.
It's maybe an ignorant question.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
There's no ignorant question.
Yes, as a landowner, I've known in the past, people, if they'll just dump it in somebody's land. So they're going to Woodlot or they go in the end of Carver Road, either side, and just dump it. So the town's still gonna have to take care of it. And I don't know, it is a problem. And I agree with you that you're gonna have to somehow maybe raise the price, but if they start dumping it in somebody's woodlot or somebody's field or.
They dumped it at the end of Lori Gifford's Road the other day.
So
This
this is where we find the problems are. Appliances, refrigerators, tires. What was the other one? Was there another one? Air conditioners.
Air conditioners.
Yeah. I was thinking
So
Freon
we
stuff.
would still take all that stuff. because that is environmentally a problem. Somebody dumps a refrigerator or an AC unit, I get it. Tires, so this is befuddling to me. You go get tires on your car, they charge you $2 and you just leave them there. Why people think they gotta bring them home and then bring them to the transfer, it just makes no sense. Why, I mean, we buy trailers for the, tires for the trailers in our trucks. We have a spot to put the tire. It's cheaper for me. Yeah, you take the tires. Thank you for changing our tires to the later. So understanding the fact of people dumping, we tried to, how can we incorporate so that we're taking what we really can't be dumped in? And mattresses, that's an issue. I know.
To respond to you, Larry, there's just kind of 2 points that I would make. Is one is the people that are going to throw trash in the woods are people that are going to throw trash in the woods. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They don't want to pay for it. They don't care about where it ends up. You and me are not going to do that. It doesn't matter what it's going to cost me to get rid of my stuff. I'm not throwing it in somebody else's woods. It's offensive and I wouldn't do it. So I don't think we can control the people that are going to do it. And my second point would just be that there are towns around us. I know for sure Litchfield does not take that stuff and they border Monmouth. I think if someone's going to throw stuff in the woods, it's not going to stop at the town line. People in Litchfield already have to take their stuff to MWAC. They don't accept household trash or demo in Litchfield. So you have to pay private haulers. They don't have a town-wide trash pickup. Just you pay somebody to come get it at your house. So I mean, those people are right next door.
But I think the thing that, you and I talked about when we saw each other at the town office one day is giving people the information. When the change is made, if we decide to make the change, you say, okay, we're not taking that here anymore, but here.
No, and.
Is where you can get rid of it.
But if we make that decision, we can start blasting signage out that, hey, come this date.
Yeah.
This is your options, and we'll tell them what the options are.
Yeah.
There's more than one.
Yes.
The number one option is call one of the refuse haulers. They take it to Norwich Walk. I mean, we can drive to Norwich Walk. We can drive to Auburn. Every citizen can drive to Auburn. In Auburn, okay, the facilities in Auburn, they don't take demo. People have to take the demo to, and what? It's just, they're the biggest customer of Maine Waste Energy, so.
Really stupid.
No, it is.
Are there laws about what you can burn in your yard?
That's the wrong guy. I mean, are you talking brush?
Anything.
I don't know.
Give them plastics.
Yeah, you would know better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tires, obviously.
Yeah.
That's what
Qualify, I know.
we used to get permission from the police to burn tires.
Oh, really?
For ice skating purposes.
Date nurse.
Good old days.
Good old days.
So that's not a dumb question.
No, it's not a dumb, that's a good question. No, there's a lot of things that you just can't, the barrels now, supposed to even burn in the barrel at your home. Mattresses, tires, plastics is a huge one. Shingles,
Yeah.
asphalt,
Okay, yeah.
anything asphalt. So there's lots of things.
It makes black smoke.
Yeah, no,
You can get those to get them recycled, you can't even do that, and now that goes right in demo, and I'll tell you, maybe a quarter of a dumpster is pretty heavy, if, a quarter full of shingles. Now, I hope that the person isn't here. Just to give you an example, we used to have people bring shingles, they go dump them over on the side, okay? Well, now we got them. We're wasting time. We have to take the loader down there, Public Works loader, they go handle this. It takes time, it costs money. You can never say, oh, that'll take 15 minutes. Well, by the time you drive there, you move the shingles and whatever else you gotta move. We almost never go down there for less than 2 hours. So we told them, no one would just dump it. They wanna bring a truckload of shingles, put them in the demo bin yourself. Wow. And they found out, he said, it takes 3 hours, yeah.
By the way, I dumped some shingles the other day, but I asked versus like 6, and I said, nah, you're all. Yes. So I asked even before I did that, it's just, you gotta be honest. Right? So, I think like the original comment you started, Tony, and I'm interested, what's the difference between the MWAC fees for members like we are, because we get in with Paul Bird when he started the whole thing.
Okay, so,
To a like Wales.
so they have, well, Wales is with us, so.
But so a different one,
Yeah.
a non-member, a non-member.
The rules of MWAC contract that we have, we will always be the cheapest. Nobody can pay less than us. Now, there's, if there's probably 15 entities, it's 90 up to 110. Most of them are right around $90. There's a couple towns that are paying 110. We're paying 54
Because we're,
right now.
we're an owner.
It's changing. That's just, that's not an option there.
The math doesn't.
Kind of like the
Right.
county budget. They just tell you what it is. They're gonna tell us what trash is. I just happen to be a voting member, so.
That's how they got themselves in trouble, right? Because the board is made up of the member communities. So they were sort of artificially keeping that fee low.
They were giving them some.
And they were starving the entity by not paying it. So that's what they did, in order to keep their budgets down in their own
They
town.
cannibalized themselves.
That's right.
So just quickly on the numbers, we get rid of the demo wood and we get rid of the demo. That saves $83,000. Off of the present budget, it would be more than that if we decide to go back to demo, because we're gonna have to figure out to charge what it is, so that would bump that budget up. It's 68.5. We'd have to go probably to 100. So instead of a $30,000 increase, 30,000 increase,
Plus the wood, right?
we're eliminating it, so. If we didn't eliminate it, I think just the transfer station budget, it was either it's 9.3 or 9.8, I can't remember how I first did it. But once we've eliminated it, now it's down 11%. So what does that 11% do for us? Well, that helps me on the public works side, gets me down to the 2% where you want. And it helps other budgets. Other budgets, this is no news, but they're labor top heavy. So I can do this without getting rid of people. And, I don't know how Paul's budget is, but I'm guessing he's north of 80% is labor, where I'm about 40. So. I think I got it.
If we put demo back,
Can we?
if we put demo back
Yeah.
and we wanted to buy
Scale.
how much would that cost?
200,000 is what.
I think for a mobile one. right?
Somebody was. We were at a meeting where we were talking about demo and stuff, so. Plus, so off of this budget, you'd have to add in 83 plus 30, so 113,000. Plus a scale.
And this budget doesn't give you any newer equipment.
We'll get there.
Have we talked to Winthrop about partner?
We have,
They're not gonna
they've
get it.
just been concerned about our volume and whether they can handle it. If we limited the scope, I think we may get somewhere with them, but like when we share the volume of of demo that we're taking in this town, they're like astounded, and I don't think they want to take it because they're afraid they're going to fill their containers and they won't be able to serve their own residents.
I think they.
Is that fair?
Yes, they'd be more, they'd be more willing to listen if we could find a way to keep it just a residential. Just,
Trash.
you did a project, you bring your scrap wood over, or, you know, you actually do buy a mattress and get rid of the one you had and not the 11.
Right. And like mattresses and stuff, because we don't have like a facility with a roof. Right, you throw a couple mattresses in there and it rains, that mattress that cost, $5, $6 or, whatever to get rid of is now costing $40 to get rid of because it weighs down the can.
So just a couple foods for thought. I touched on it earlier about the trailers. The plan was to put one in this year, conscientious of the budget and, the reeval, understood. So this is a tough year. So move it off to next year. We're gonna need 2 trailers over the next 3 to 5 years. It's just, I much need a trailer more. I do a demo scale. The trash trail, because you won't, I know people get upset and that it's hard for them to understand. But when the trailer's full, the trailer's full. We have to close it. And for some reason, there's people that 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon is the time that they go to the transfer station. And, that's the worst time. I mean, we fill a trailer every Saturday. We fill a trailer most Sundays. We start empty and we filled recycle on a weekend easily. Especially around Christmas.
Tony, this is the year when our recycling contract is up.
Yes.
Any thought to not continuing with that and to send all that stream to MWAC?
So we've notified them that
Yes.
we're not renewing the contract. There's a little groundswell of information that maybe they're interested in coming back to us with, that they need the stuff, they may not. But right now, the game plan was to, the recycle's going into the trash and then.
Does that help any with, a little bit with extending the life of trailers? Because now we only have to have 1 trailer available at a time. Volume still going to be.
Volume's still the volume.
Right, you'd have to have 2.
It's still, we might have to move a trailer more off. That's.
Complication with the recycling is the new state law on the big box stores, the cardboard thing where they're charging like the Walmarts and Amazons of the world, that fee. So the state starts collecting that fee, I think it's this year, but they don't expect to be making any payments, I don't think, until like 28 out of the fund, until it builds up. So municipalities aren't eligible for any of that money if we don't have a recycling program. So that's kind of what complicates it, is nobody can tell us what that revenue stream will look like. But we do know that if we get rid of the recycling, we're not eligible for it. So that's just it kind of complicates the equation of trying to figure out whether it's a good deal or not, because we don't know information. The state hasn't shared what we get back. So Eco Maine is trying to use that. They're trying to use that as leverage. Yeah, like if you stay with us, there'll be revenue coming back to you that you're going to forego if you get rid of us.
We'll go back to them.
So like Winthrop has a baler.
Right.
They may be willing to take something like cardboard, but that's not going to fix our big problem. But there are lots of things we could nibble around the edges on. But I guess the question is like, how big do you want to go? This cut right here is a big basis of getting the town to that 2% number. Right. So if we add all this stuff back in, the only way I'm going to come back to you with that is going to be headcount, which is an option. But I just want to be clear, in a town like this, other than Public Works, it's headcount.
Would it make sense to look into the cost of putting a roof over the demo trailer?
Our problem with where our transfer station is a large majority of it is on top of a capped landfill. So we would have to think about sort of reorienting the whole facility, which would be a major capital investment. I mean, the town could do it if the town decided that it really wanted to have a full-blown transfer station, kind of like an operation like Winter Paths, where they have a lot of stuff undercover and they have buildings for everything. We could do that, but you'd be looking at millions of dollars of investment. Trash is no good.
In terms of the weight,
Right.
even if it's a retractable roof that you just put up if we know there's a huge storm coming.
Well, it's quiet.
We know what our choices are.
You want to go through?
But we
have a draft fee schedule based on the idea that demo would go away and that some of the stuff would get limited. So these fees, some of them would apply whether you decide to do that or not. But then there's stuff in here that's changed because we wouldn't be taking certain items. So I don't know if you want.
So, us and I went to so KB Cog put on a meeting to discuss what's everybody paid, to figure out what towns are paying. We're on the low end of every single possible thing. Everything we took in, we're the cheapest. So came up with another fee schedule. We've got tires that were taken for $2 and cost us $5. Tires cost us $5 to get rid of. So that's what this new fee schedule is, $5, $8 if it's on the rim, because they charge us more if the rim's still on. No truck tires or equipment tires. Equipment tires, just a whole different nightmare. We haven't really gotten any truck tires. And when I say truck tire, I'm talking a dump truck or a trailer truck. We don't even take ours there, so. The tire contractor, that's always an option, so it's not like there's no option. Freon, air conditioners, I think they were at 10, it's gonna go to 20. Other appliances, $25. Refrigerators, and all, because we have to remove the Freon before we can flow them in. There's a real cost there. Stoves, dishwashers, all those metal items, any metal continue to be free because we actually do get paid for that. Leaves and brush, household only, no commercial. Grew up in the woods my whole life. We never took brush anywhere. I don't get it. We have a massive brush pile and everybody lives in the woods. Different times, I guess I'm getting old. Propane tanks. So this is another thing that you would find dumped on the side of the road, so, we take those, $20 for the normal tanks, a 20-pound, other one for your grill, $5 for the little bottle ones. We have to evacuate those before we can get rid of them. We don't have a really, ability to get rid of anything bigger than that. I think you'd have to take them to like Suburban Propane or one of the big propane stores. We can't get rid of them. Get away with demolition, universal waste, monitors, TVs, desktop, all that mechanical stuff, $8. Lights still do for free. We don't have a charge. We just sent out 8 boxes of light bulbs yesterday. Yeah. That's a big program. It's no cost to us. It's good. Batteries, some reason, batteries are like tires. You go buy a battery, you pay a fortune.
Yeah.
So you're paying $10. Why wouldn't you take it back? Get you $10 back, but it costs us on the battery, so, I think we'll go cheaper than the 10 bucks. We'll go
If we got a Duracell, you know, a little late, that was gonna be $8.
Yeah, it's a, oh, no.
That's why I was laughing at him. He goes,
No, AAA, we'll go $10.
One out of your dog.
So the triple batteries, people apparently don't know. You can throw them right in the trash. They can go right in normal trash. But we collect a lot of them, so when they come get the car batteries, they take the AAAs and the double, we have to separate them. They won't pick them up if they're not separated by size, whatever.
They go in the regular trash.
Do they do anything with them though, other than trash them?
That's a good question. I don't know what they might put them right in the trash. But they don't charge us for the household value, so I'm guessing there's some program they have for them, but.
Cause I still take them as a group and put them.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, we do.
So, but those don't cost us, car batteries cost us. Marine batteries, all that stuff. That's where the charge would be, not for,
Household flashlights.
not a flashlight. But we did type it up, that says vehicle battery, so.
So are there any initial thoughts? Because when we bring this. Not that you have to decide right this minute, but if you have some direction that you want us to take, we're gonna add this back in, and it's gonna change our sort of our posture.
Raise the price. Raise the prices.
We have no way to figure it out.
Raise the prices. Do it for a year, see how we make out, and raise the prices.
Based on what though?
If it costs me $5 to put something in the hopper, this time it's $10.
But the problem is going from 5 to 10, we're still upside down.
Upside down.
I mean, to make it equitable, we have to charge.
Well, charge for, a 2x4, charge for a sheet of plywood, charge for, you gotta do it by size. Somebody's gotta.
But people bring like whole decks and they throw them in there. I mean, there's no way to count up the components of the deck. I mean, it weighs.
Takes up a lot. It becomes labor intensive then. If you have a scale, okay, you pull on the scale, it weighs 1,100 pounds, you get charged 1,100 pounds.
You're gonna have trouble with pressure treated. All that stuff is chemical. You can't bury it. You gotta get rid of it. You can't burn it.
Yeah, another thing you shouldn't burn in your front yard.
Yeah,
Pressure treated.
But there's an avenue for people to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's costing them that way, not the citizen. It's utilized.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure there's people that bring demo, but it's small amounts, what you see is a lot of time in the spring, they broke their shovel or there's a bunch of kid toys and stuff. They can bring that over and throw it in. But I mean, there's no way we should be taking boats, hot tubs. I mean, it's just too big for us to even handle. We can't get them I can't get a hot tub in the dumpster, so now we have to cut it in half or smash it with a loader and
Pick up all the pieces.
and then pick up all the pieces, so. I keep looking at mine.
Yeah, what's Mark's opinion?
175.
First of all, I want to thank you all for subsidizing me as a contractor, bringing all my stuff to the transfer station. I use the facility, but I understand it's all about the budget. And I will make arrangements. I will plan accordingly. I probably will end up with a burn pile at my house. I have a perfect place to do it. I will take my scrap wood home. I will have a glass barrel to take to the facility when it's full, and I will plan accordingly. And if it gets too rough, I'll just retire.
Well, you're happy.
And you'll stay in Florida.
Yeah, I,
But you bought the cold air.
I get it. You know, it is a huge cost. And I mean, if it's there and it costs more as a contractor, I would be happy to pay more. We're in a situation now where anything you do for construction, it costs people a lot of money. And it used to cost $50 to get rid of a load of shingles. And now I hear all these stories, it's $200 or $300. And we're nowhere near that price. We should be, but we're not. So, I get it. If the thing remains and the fees go up, we pay the fees, and if it goes away, then we'll just plan accordingly.
Are you thinking of anything? You need to digest it and come back?
I don't know, I guess it's not.
I'd kind of like to know, from a capital standpoint, capital budget standpoint, if we were to borrow money to buy a scale and then be able to charge accordingly and accurately and without squabbling, because the weight is the weight, right?
Weight is the weight.
Then from a capital standpoint, what would that cost us and what would be the budget impact?
In the scale house. Yeah.
Right. Well,
We
a
got a shed
mobile,
there.
I mean, a shed, but the mobile scale, I know what
Well, we
Whitford
got to
has,
put it
but I
down
mean,
by where our shed is anyway.
exactly.
It's flat ground there.
Mhm.
I mean, as you know, going up in the transfer station.
Oh, yeah.
That's a grade the whole way up in there. The only flat area is right over in front of where our shed is anyway,
Yeah.
so, we may have to move the metal
Yeah.
bin ways away, but so
But at
be it.
least there'd be a pattern in and out there,
Correct.
to get.
Yeah, it's not
people in and-
undoable by
Yeah.
any stretch. So, I mean, how we came up with this was, the budget is, we want the budget here. Well, to get the budget here, we
Exactly.
can't, budget can't be there without reduction somewhere. What is it? And obviously the gravel was one that helped us on the public works side, so that, that budget's at 3%. I know that's not 2%, but as a package, I think I'm under the 2%.
No, I think, we've talked about it, we've thrown it out there for years now about wishing we had a scale or being able to go with Winthrop, but if that's not something they're open to, I think that that's an avenue to explore to.
We could use the capital budget to make a purchase like that and then charge a market-based fee, whatever, what the going rate is. I mean, nobody can argue if we're charging what the surrounding communities are charging. That we're being.
The lines on the capital budget is the trail and the.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And those things, it was a 130, I'm guessing it's gonna be 150 now.
Sure.
And
we know the
we
trains
need
on the
more
tracks.
than one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, and the thing to understand is if we don't have a way to weigh it, then it's gonna go away completely. So people need to weigh their options when they're making that decision. Do you want to pay for this capital expense of a trailer at the transfer station? If we don't have it, there's gonna be no demo.
Right.
So those are
Or
your
dirty wood, or
options.
whatever.
Or dirty wood, or,
I mean, it seems to me like there are people who are always gonna, not follow the rules and dump their waste in the middle of the woods all the time. There's also a good portion of the community that if it's convenient, they'll do it. If it's not convenient, they'll turn into the back roads people that, find an unsupervised parking lot and go whoop, right, for the stuff that they don't want.
and the Packer Road.
So I don't know. It seems to me like convenience, there's something to be said for the package deal of convenience. It might be expensive. We might have to charge what the going rate is, but you can take care of, it's one trip.
Yeah.
It's not 3 trips or, having to look at a pile of refuse for 3 weeks built up in your backyard until you've got enough for a pickup truck to go to MWAC or wherever you're taking it because it's a special trip.
Can you change it? If you put the demo back
Put
in,
it all back in.
yeah, what is that? where does that put me?
Well, and I think
Just.
if it goes back in, there would be, and we're gonna boost the rates. Right? Then we'd also have to take into account the revenue that would be generated.
Yeah, because.
Or just a.
Yeah, I would just caution that I would be surprised if we could make any of this happen until probably at least halfway through the next budget year. So we're gonna have to budget for the full loss of the cost of getting rid of all the demo, not knowing how long it's gonna take to get this all, to get it purchased.
And of course, with tightening up on the stickers and raising prices, you're gonna see, if hypothetically, we're able to charge accurately by weight,
Like the demo app.
you'll see
Yeah.
you'll see this, you'll see the revenue go up and sort of,
Right.
the demand for, the amount, the quantity,
Thousand back
the
in.
costs will go down a little bit.
I think we would, if we stop taking this stuff, you're gonna create a market. And I think you're gonna find you would have people kind of doing like the trash service does in town. You would have people that would start advertising to come and pick up your stuff at your house. It would be a lot more expensive, but it would create a market and someone would definitely pick that up and that service would be available. I have no doubt.
Sure.
It would make with those two items added back in, the
Well, and
transfer station budget would go to
11%.
495,815. Just a 15.6% increase.
Really?
Yeah,
What was this?
11%.
the new number would be 495,015.6. Drives the overall public works budget up to 6.4%.
Doesn't your 11% reduction help other departments?
Yes.
Yes.
That's why I said we're not labor heavy.
Right.
Work the hardest, but we're not the labor.
No health here to defend themselves. So that's all I'm saying is his 11% is gonna offset other departments,
So
so.
we just punch in a number. So instead of a minus 11% on transfer, we'd be at, this is without the scale yet. We'd be up 15% and we'll put my total of both budgets at 6.4. So what I've heard and what you're asking me to do, is let's see what what a scale is gonna cost us.
So I would
To
say,
get it put in, that's what I've understood, and we'll come back and I can tell you.
I mean, it could be a blend of the two. We could say, get a scale and we'll trim back the amount of stuff that we're willing to accept.
Or go to Winthrop for the cardboard. Still try to make the deals that we can make.
Right. Well, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be a
I
blend.
mean, would you be comfortable with residents can go get rid of their stuff and we'll let contractors figure out how to make it work, as Mark said? I mean,
that could be another policy option. Yeah.
so if we do a limit, I just want to make it's gotta be clear to everybody, that if we get rid of demo, there are options for people.
Yeah.
People still have options. They can take it themselves. They can call Riverside or Waste Management. All those trucks are in town as it is. There's dumpsters everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're not coming. So there are options. That's all. And then, in my mind, then the cost goes on the true generator.
Tell me more about what, if we decided the contractors or businesses have to fend for themselves, but only residents, how would you discriminate between those two? How would you be able to tell the difference?
We'd have to, something we'd have to
That's
figure out.
anything we kept track of.
Right.
We don't.
No, it's a hurdle.
I mean, there are lots of ways to do it. I mean,
we have to go to Winthrop and ask them first. We've laid the groundwork on this and, they got busy and they had stuff they were dealing with and we did too, so. It's kind of back burning, but
Yeah.
The discussion can happen. Again,
So this is what been going on for a lot of years, but it's really a shell game. So whether we go with these fees or we put it in the tax rolls, we're gonna pay more. We need to pay more. I certainly hope that whatever maneuvers are done here, we're not gonna have any more going upside down, as Tony said. That's $34,000 we should have been not absorbing. So I think it's just because I think we're afraid that the public's gonna have a bad one on this. Those are the realities that we're being given. I think we need to address it.
Okay.
Whether we pay these fees or we put it on the tax slip that comes in the mail. One or the other, that's gonna be done. It's a shell game, this one or that one. But I do wanna say to Tony while he's here, that your staff has been exceptionally polite and courteous to people lately. And I'm assuming he used to be, maybe, are you the one that's teaching them that? Because they're doing a great job.
there's only one person that can be rude. They know that.
It's a change.
Sometimes you don't have to deal with them.
No, it's a change and I mean.
I tell them if it's just confrontational, walk away from them. If they persist, either give them my number or you call me. And, you know, I've gotten phone calls Saturdays and Sundays of people that, you know, somebody didn't want to, they refused to pay $10 for something going in demo. I mean, I felt like saying, guy, it's $10. I'm not paying. Then you're not dumping.
There's a new atmosphere there. It's very positive. And it's a good environment and it's refreshing and I don't dread going to the transfer station anymore.
Yeah, people are super helpful.
Yeah.
And
We have had a lot of good comments. And there's more people bring them donuts and bring us. Okay, what's going on here?
It's a good sign.
I'll take it fresh fruit.
I don't know. I mean, I appreciate the effort you put into looking into each of these options. And I don't know if it's going to be a one thing or another thing or a combination of, 6 different things that we do, but I hear you where we have to do something.
If there's just 4 pieces that you can make as a market, is there any way we could just those 4 things going in?
Well, the problem. I'm not a big recycler guy, just I'll put that. But when the people that come, if the recycle fill is full, they will not
Dump it in the.
put it in the trash. They'll come back next week. Now, in the recycler's mind, glass, cans, all those things, that's recycled. So that's gonna be a hurdle to get past. I mean, we're trying to figure out how we can handle cardboard. I was saying if we just put it somewhere and then we take it over to Winthrop and say, here you go. But I can't lay that on the ground. I can't leave it outside. So do we buy a cheap box truck, fill the thing up, take it over there, unload it? Now that's manual labor that,
It's not bad.
yeah, they're gonna bail it. I mean, I can tell you right now, the public works crew does not have free time on their hands. It's
Well, right.
reality.
Trash is like.
Because their supervisor's a slave driver.
It's like firewood and hay.
hay.
You just, firewood and hay, you just keep handling it in a different form. And then trash is the same way. You just have to keep touching
I
it.
think that household trash is a whole different animal.
Yes.
That everybody uses that,
Yes.
everybody. 100% of the people, well, no, I guess there are some people that pay, what's the guy's name? Cushman.
Yeah.
But the trash still ends up there.
Yeah.
Okay? That's even footing for everybody. I generate trash and, I love it. I put it out by my mailbox and the trash truck comes and takes it. That's just a benefit, but I can't put a chair out there. I can't put a couch out there. I sure can't put a mattress out there. I've got to go dispose of it and pick it up. That's
The reality.
Reality.
So the recycling question, Eco Maine doesn't do that. They have a single sort facility, and when you're in a contract with them, you're required to put everything in there. Technically, if somebody drove over here and they watched when the bin gets full, that people were throwing it in the trash, they could cite us for that under our contract. They are entitled to all of the recyclable material that's in this town, and they're supposed to get it all. That being said, there are ways to just recycle the things that you want, but communities that do that have facilities for it. They have storage barns, they bale the cardboard, they store it until the market comes up, and then they sell it. So a lot of smaller towns, like I know for.
George does that.
Right. I know for a fact that Skowhegan does it for a lot of the towns around Somerset County. They have bins in the little towns like Solon, and they put their stuff in there, and then they haul it to Skowhegan, and Skowhegan sorts it and bales it, and then they sell it, and that's how they do recycling in some of those places.
Eco Maine has storage facilities down there. Put in Gaylords, so, and they wait for the market to change. And, you know, so they get full. So their storage facilities are full of stuff waiting for them to be able to get. I mean, China, it's better than that as China used to buy all that stuff. That's.
Yeah.
You good? Tony, can you go home?
You need for the street lights on.
I'll take care of it.
I can't believe I have the toughest act with all the trash talk. No.
Like on the basketball.
Yeah, now on to the fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Yeah. No, thank you. Well, for those who I haven't had a chance to meet, I'm Mike Griswold. I'm the new recreation director here. This is my first budget meeting, and I think for me, what I really want to do my best to accomplish for you all is give you the high level bullet points as to just where we are, because we are kind of flying the plane as we build it. And so we're just about 6.5 months in. So I thought what I do is to help kind of scaffold the conversation about the budget is to just go over where things have gone since I stepped my role in July, if that sounds okay. This year, though, I am no, I guess the best way I'll put this is that I'm no stranger to the field of recreation. I've been doing this for a long time. I do live in Winthrop, so I have a very good pulse of what's going on in both communities. And so with this being the first year in building a new department, so to speak, this has been a very data-driven year, a year in which I'm able to build institutional knowledge of what is currently going on in Monmouth that is established, while also weighing what is it that are the needs that we can eventually work towards. So what that really is broken down to in a few buckets is really looking at how we've had our communications and our financial management systems getting streamlined. We have a brand new website. It's called MyRec. It actually focuses on, it's a dual processor. So it's a website and a registration process. So what that's helpful for me is to help build all the information that our community seeks for our programs, our services, eventually in building out more information about our beach, our trail systems, but then also really helping to streamline, again, the financial pieces that go into all of our programs and services. So long are the days of going to a program where we're paying in cash, check, on site, in the field, so to speak. A lot of it has been streamlined online, and any check or cash payment, any physical payment, there's a method for them to go to the town office. That way we just know that funds are going exactly where it needs to go and that it's being deposited as such. And that also speaks to all the informed consents that go into all the liabilities that we have to maintain. So that's one big bucket that really kind of relates to everything that I'm going to go over. As I said, established programs, we go through each season. So of course, the fall really primarily focuses on soccer. We're wrapping up basketball right now. There's a slew of adult programs and cheering. And of course, we haven't even gotten through the full year looking at what the summer is going to entail. which leads me to my next bucket, which is the organization of our recreation committee, which that is really the space where I can get the advisory input as to what is it that they want to see this recreation department accomplish, what are the needs, what do we need to allocate funds for, whether it's facilities, which I've been talking with them with fresh eyes about how can we improve our facilities so it matches not only the current programs that we offer, but also enhance new things, whether it be rentals or utilizations of this space, for example. So there's a lot that's being discussed, and like I said, we're building slowly, but I really want to make sure that everything we do represents the financial stewardship to our community, but then also make sure it has the proper foundation and infrastructure that gives us the ability to grow the way in which we want to see it. So I'll be happy to answer questions about programs and all those things if that is of the interest of the select board and the group that's here, but really kind of transitioning that to the budget. Mine is a little bit more straightforward than the one before that you just heard. But I think what I'll just do is just indicate, is that my time up already? I was gonna say, I'll just get started. That's okay. So with this budget, I've been working with the rec committee, but also with Justin to really go over what was last year and how can we best set up for this year. In an overarching manner, we are doing our very best to essentially duplicate a very similar budget. The variances are very minimal. What we've been trying to do in this budget is just section out some new items. So whether that is looking at training and development, not only for myself, but staff that come on, whether certifications are needed, workshops, conferences, etc., contracted services. Some of the increases do naturally relate to just utilities. So all in all, it's a pretty tight budget, but I think what I want to do is just pause and I want to make sure I give space so that we can stay on point for questions or curiosities that select board have and others here that I can help answer to the best of my ability.
Questions?
I talked to Mike a week ago.
Is there something, a program for the beach?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I think where the best I can answer it at this place in time is our recreation committee, when we first formulated back in October, the first few meetings were, of course, just getting the grounds of how this committee is going to operate, but also setting course the priorities that we really want to tackle. And so the committee decided and agreed mutually that because of the ordinances that we have been challenged to look through with the beach, we are currently, we've gone through the ordinances right now. What we're still discussing, which does have some workable frameworks, is looking at some of just the user management protocols of the beach. And then also what are some of those programs and services. So it is our goal that come late winter, early spring, that we would like to communicate out to the community what those things are so that the plan is ready to be executed in the summertime.
It's a work in progress.
And
But there will be programs at the beach.
Yes.
And there will be rental, the different rentals.
Lifeguards. And lifeguards?
So I think the best way I'll answer that is like we're discussing what those programs and services are. Naturally, because they're aquatics, there are elements in which that is included in there. We have a meeting that's happening at the end of this month where that's going to be pinpointed exactly where are the best usages of that. Based on, again, looking with fresh eyes that I have working in other recreation departments previous to this and evaluating what budgets have been in the past and how can I most efficiently utilize the funds that meets the needs that I'm hearing, but also maintains the integrity and liabilities of what our programs will offer.
And going along with that, when you ask about lifeguards, one of the things that we as a committee would like to see is an enterprise account for the rec department. So that when funds come in, whether it be for soccer or a swimming lesson, that those don't necessarily go and you jump in and I use the wrong words.
Okay.
They don't go just in the general fund, but we actually have a line item that is our revenues that our expenses line up against.
Sure.
So putting the rec department on its own line for revenues, so that when you look at what our budget is, as we develop the programs and we know what our income is, we can base that on showing the town, look, we took in, I don't know, $5,000 in soccer registration. We bought new, soccer balls and boards, boards, boards for the, a new whistle, that type of stuff. So we measure it up and we're looking apples to apples, where right now we don't really have a way of saying, okay, these are our revenues because it all goes in the general fund.
Right.
So one of the things that as a committee that we would like to see is to have our own budget.
I think that makes sense because if number one, your costs are relative to your revenues, right?
Exactly.
If you enlarge the soccer program, you need more soccer balls.
Yes, and I think one thing and I'm glad Darlene brought this up because it is part of my notes is I didn't have a lot to go on when it came to saying like, what was our revenues last year? Like truly looking into our MyRec program. This is what this program does is I am able to print out program income reports. So what I've been doing in this full year behind the scenes is in front of me, I'm able to look at what are the revenues for every single program that we had. And then against that, I know in this first year, I've made expenses, just as you mentioned, about if a program needs new soccer balls, needs new first aid equipment, needs new jerseys, which in fact, so a lot of those costs have actually been lessened because I've been seeking sponsorships. And so I'd say roughly $1,500 per season, just on like shirts and jerseys alone, have not had to come out of a budget. It's really the graciousness of people in this community. Yeah, what I've been doing is keeping and journaling every expense that go against what that bottom line revenue is. So I know for a fact that the funds that I'm using, well, it shows in a different line as the way in which our accounts are currently set up. The goal that we've been discussing, if it's the liking of the committee, the select board to move this way, is that I would like to be able to make the rec department a self-sustaining entity that the funds that, yes, we do get help to support all those things that we normally are going to need to expense. But sometimes there are expenses that I don't need to make every year. New soccer balls, new basketballs that were done this year. I'm not planning to do that next year because those are spent to last for a little while. But it helps me to project when that comes back around. There's also different revenue structures that I think are important that are going to support this department. And again, these are all things that I'm going to be talking about with the committee. It's not uncommon to have your set resident fees and non-resident fees. Typically, non-resident fees are nominal in nature, but they might be $5. If it's $40 for residents, it's $45 for non-residents. So like those are like the weed conversations that I will work with our committee on. But again, there's a million and one different ways and different opportunities that we look to maximize, whether it's programs at the beach, we talk about rental structures here, rental opportunities. When I say rental structures, it means systems, because I get a lot of inquiries about birthday parties, things of that nature. And some of the funds that I would really like to be able to utilize, which I have earmarked in our budget, is I look around here and I see this space for what it's used as and what it can be. Everything that Darlene just mentioned in the age-friendly community, like this, if the library doesn't serve as the primary function, this space should be that. The playground that's out here is in need of some desperate TLC. So I've been meeting with the gentleman who built it, getting quotes, looking at resurfacing this court, getting basketball, pickleball lines. And so really making sure that like our facilities match the quality of the programs and services that we intend to offer. And so I think like, that's why I say like, we're in this unique infrastructure building year so that I know that it matches across the board, the type of things that we can be proud of. So I hope that kind of answers the question. It speaks a little bit to Darlene about what are, and I know Kayla has been part of these conversations as well as to how we're really looking to, again, be good stewards to the taxpayers here. And what can we do knowing that we are one of the unique functions that does have a revenue line to make sure it can help support itself.
How does, Lonnie Steves runs the YMCA Winthrop business?
Until August.
What?
Until August. He's retiring.
Retire.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, anyway, they have, I mean, you live in Winthrop, so.
Yeah.
Do you make, your kids make use of, what goes on there is for the rec?
Yeah, they, in Winthrop and here. So my daughter's in the cheer program. My wife is the president of, or I should say former president, but it's as of very recent, of Monmouth Community Players. So like our lives are invested here, but I do think it's one of those things where.
He's done, because of his ties with Winthrop, they've done a lot of partnering. We've done a lot of programs that we've been, where we couldn't offer something, do we just do?
Right, and I was, the second part of where I was getting to, which I know where you're going, is I understand that I don't want us to have to slow down so much to say, well, I know that this is what might be a need of the community. Is there something of a ready resource that we can collaborate with? So I get a lot of emails about what they would love to see. And I'll give you an example for pickleball. We right now, in the way in which our schools are utilized, which right now those are our community centers, and they are at a premium for the schools. So we are the second ones on the list, which we are very gracious to be able to have the relationships that we do. And I have very good relationships with the principals, also the superintendent, to make that, I think in this first year, like pretty seamless. But I recognize that we don't have as much access to time and utilization. So I had reached out to Lonnie and say, I know you do open gym every Sunday. I know this is an interest of Winthrop. Is there a way that we can work together to bring, even though I know it's 5-6 minutes down the road, maybe 10 or 15, depending where you are here, that it's there. And so we've collaborated to have a 2-hour block on a Sunday where actually people from all over, not just Winthrop and Monmouth, have been coming to recreate there. So we look to really expand a lot more too when it comes to just like, again, doing kind of like an analysis of what is it here, and that we don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel on, that there might be somebody nearby who does it extremely well and we just want to partner.
And Winthrop, for some reason, they fundraise. I mean, I get a letter every year and I give them $25 a donation.
We're thinking about doing all those type of things. We've thrown out ideas about next year having a winter carnival where we put up an ice rink out here. And, we have food trucks come and, we make this the recreation area and do those type of things. So we've thrown a lot of spaghetti against the wall in our meetings about, I think we all have some pretty lofty ideas of what we can build. And when we've got a great mix of people on the committee between, Wade, who's part of the school, the Berlin, and there's teachers, and there's a lot of people that are very active.
Some doctors, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
So outside of those lofty things, which we are tackling, of course, as we were talking about the beach and really grooming that out so we can get it to where we want and need it to be with some of the plans that we've been talking about. But I think one of the things that philosophically coming into this job, no different than any recreation director in any town would, is, or should, I should say, is really look at things from the idea of, when you look at the scale from infancy to age-friendly communities, do your own analysis as to how you're doing. And it's pretty, you can determine those things pretty quick. A lot of times it's K through 6, like, and a lot of that's youth sports. You know, I recognize we don't have childcare services right now. You know, and that's at a premium, it's at a scarcity. You know, what is this department in a position to help leverage or partner with? And so there's clear areas where I think that this department has operated from, and it will continue to do that. Sports has been a big one, and it will always continue to be one. But as you start working down that line, you start saying like, man, there's really not a lot of teen supported programs. There's not really a lot of outdoor education-based programs where you're getting people to utilize and be knowledgeable. What is in Monmouth? What are the trail systems? What can we do to leverage more volunteerism and special events using those things? We have a beautiful beach. We're evaluating the programs and services. I would love to have a Concert by the Beach series with everything that Darlene just mentioned. Like the roadmap can be whatever we want it to be, and that's why I say we're kind of flying the plane a little bit while we're building it. But with their advisements and my expertise in the field, we're just chipping away right now. And so
We don't want to take on so much that we disappoint. So we are learning to walk before we run. And so we're trying to do the things that we know we can do and be successful, and then build upon that as we hear from the community. If that makes sense.
I just have two questions. I see on the budget line that I gather your salary was in seasonal, now it's in full-time. That's the jump from the $61,000 difference.
budgets. It was originally separated. If that's your question, as far as what we tried to do with this budget.
So it wasn't seasonal, you separated it out.
When Justin and I talked, we decided that that would be better to.
And I know we've talked beach a couple times, and I just want to get it clear in my brain. Are there lifeguards in this budget? Salaried lifeguards in this budget?
Not at the way that you would think of it in the past.
Right.
We spent more money than 5 towns combined on lifeguards down there compared to anybody around us.
I didn't say how much.
Right.
Are there lifeguards in this budget?
I think the committee is working through the balance between how many there should be, the hours that they should be, and that in relation to the swim lessons that they're trying to put on. When there are swim lessons on, there are requirements to have certain number of staff on. He can speak to this better than I can. He's trying to be a little coy because he's not trying to put words into his committee's mouth because they haven't decided yet, right? So he's trying to answer your question.
We don't have all our recommendations that we're ready to throw out in front of the select board yet. We have a lot of.
But I think it's safe to say the goal is to have some form of swim lessons and to have lifeguards down there for some portion of that, but they haven't worked all that out yet.
You're not going to ask for more fees for lifeguards in June. July, I'm sorry, after the budget gets passed, in July, you're going to say we need 8 more lifeguards to put on a program.
No.
No, that's
Not to.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, at one point we had 16 lifeguards.
No.
We've gone through this year after year after year after year.
No.
And I want to make
We've
sure.
gone through this for 2 years.
No.
In the past.
We've gone through this when our kids were going down.
Before my time.
No, they've not.
I have
There's
ideas.
money in there for lifeguards. Somebody say the word yes. Please say yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna hold you to it. It's on.
Well, the question is, Dave, is whether they want them or not, or whether the committee feels that there's a better use for that money. So that's what they're trying to determine is what is.
Like it did
Yeah.
before, probably not.
Right.
But will there be supervision and people down at the beach to make sure things go smoothly? Yes.
There's not gonna be a lifeguard at North Monmouth.
No.
I don't think that's on the radar.
Never.
It's not a high volume.
We have other problems.
No, that's, no. North Monmouth is not part of our concern.
Are we, is the committee, close to making recommendations on what we might or might not charge to
Yes.
non-resident beach attenders?
Potentially.
Yes, well, what we're doing right now is we are comparing different nearby markets when it comes to.
We should
Like,
be.
the town of Reedfield has a really excellent blueprint, and especially as a town that's 2 communities away, that it helps us to give a very good snapshot in the different categories in which those have operated. So that is something that I have talked with our committee about. I used to work for the Y in Augusta, so I'm pretty familiar with what general fees go into aquatic programs, and specifically when it goes into running waterfront apartments and or aquatics. And so this is a helpful tool for at least, it gives us the measure in which not only is the fee, but like what is the system in which, as we were just talking about in the transfer station, how do you validate the process in which people are using our beach? And this is more or less what I believe Darlene was mentioning earlier, and I started to comment on briefly, is like looking at like our user management. And how can we create the infrastructure to ensure that whatever protocols that we are discussing are enforceable? Because when you read the ordinances, and I encourage folks to do so if they have not, that when you read it, everything makes perfect sense. The biggest challenge is weighing the reality of how can you best enforce that consistently? Because that's where challenges happen, is when this was the rule, you're running the staffing issues or whatever it might be. So we're really trying to streamline every aspect of this process so that the quality of the space is maintained properly.
To make sure that whatever we need to be insured for,
Right.
that we have that, and we're very cognizant of that. So making sure that all the boxes are checked, and we're not going to put the town in any sort of liability.
And it goes back to that sustainable structure that we have I've looked into our numbers over the last 4 years of our expenditures versus our revenues, and it is astounding to me as somebody new coming into this role. Now, is that for me my job to clean up? Absolutely. Do I know how to do that? Yes. Now what I just need to do is make sure it fits the mold what Monmouth wants. And so what I really want to be able to do is, we talked about with this idea of self-sustainability, I don't have an accurate depiction as to what, again, this data collection year, as to what our not only true revenues are for any programs that we might put on, but also as we talk about this non-resident fee, right? And so we will have a much better snapshot after this summer to be able to know what did we bring in an annual, when I say annual, I mean like a seasonal pass for some nearby user, whether it's a day, week, or a seasonal pass. That's what we're really trying to scrape through right now. And so again, building the infrastructure, figuring out what is the staffing required, and again, being a good steward to the monies that are going our way to create this opportunity. And so we're really trying our best to hit on every aspect. And while perfection is what we'll seek, I know it's not going to be perfect. I know that. But the reality that I feel in this new and growing department is, in this year zero, as I like to refer it to as, we're going to learn a lot about what's really going to work well when we get in there, and we're going to do our best to prepare for those things. But we're also going to learn like what's not working or what needs to be changed, either when I say on the fly, I just mean constructively to streamline something, or when we know in year one to have the grace to know that we are going to learn and adapt as we work through this together. So I hope that covers enough for us to be able to let you know, like, again, where our committee's at. We're hard at work in dissecting those things in addition to the beach. And so there's a lot of ambition.
And the programs this fall have been extremely successful. You might just mention the new thing you did with the cheerleaders, the new, and the
Wrestling was new this year
Yes,
too.
wrestling too.
was new.
So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate the recognition of those things.
I think those are huge successes that you've had.
Yeah, I mean, the
amount of
numbers.
kids that signed up for soccer and then cheering and now basketball.
And I think what I like to hang my hat on in these conversations is that I'm a pretty big process-oriented person, and I want to make sure that, like, the things that we do here reflect that accurately. People, like, the fall was the guinea pig as far as this new system goes, because they were familiar with the system before. Out of 110 kids who were signed up for this soccer program, 100, all but 2, which was a coach, so it was an easy way to streamline. 108 kids were registered and paid for, and their informed consents were all done before they stepped foot on the field. I will tell you, in the rec field, when I work with my colleagues, that does not happen unless you know what you're doing. And what I want to make mention of is, like, now that we're going through each season, a lot of people in their community are going, oh, not only do I have this website that has all this information that I know is up to date, accurate, and oh, by the way, when Mike gets in my email, he gets back to me. There's one thing I feel good about is a lot of people who go, I didn't expect you to respond so quickly. Like, I'm quick to get back to you because I want to make sure you have the information, because I do recognize that recreation, you could work around the clock. Things happen at non-hours of the business day. I want to make sure people got what they need. So that's why I think, like, we're on a good trajectory, that the more newness that we put out there, where it's programs, talking about the beach upcoming, we have more people at the table because I have a way to communicate more effectively through our website, through our Facebook page, the Messenger, this committee, et cetera. So I hope that I know it's going to continue, but that's the part of the method of the madness, so to speak.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
We go on to the library. So before we go on to the library, the 1856 Academy Committee asked me to bring before you the fact that they'd like to ask for heating to be in the budget like we did last year. And the reason for that is we're in the process. I had 2 of my committee members here earlier, but they must have decided they wanted to go home. So Steve Eldridge is in the process of writing 3 grants, which are matching. And the fact that if the remaining that we have left in our budget, we need some of the funds there to hopefully beat the matches. And what we're asking for is $6,000 to be in the budget for heating or maintenance on any of the heating equipment that we have there now. This year, we're funding it out of what we had for donations to this. At this point in time, our donations we've fundraised $127,040. And right now in our budget, give or take to the calculations, around 70,000, of which we're still hoping to get some electrical and insulation done on the exterior walls. And heating that building is important. One of the things Dr. Bougie had printed off for you folks tonight was about why it's important to make sure we keep that building conditioned and have it, the heating running over there at like 40 degrees. It's like 40, 45 degrees. So
fundraising This year was 127?
No, that is total. I would have to go back. I can separate it out because it's by year, but I mean, that's been a total since we started fundraising. I didn't even think about, pulling it up. I could bring you back those numbers if you're interested in what it was for the year. I mean, our Gary Crocker show raised about $3,500. That would probably cover the heating. Heating is usually somewhere, we heat for only 5 months. We turn it on somewhere at the end of November and then heat to like April, we go in and shut it off.
And what was the 70 figure you mentioned?
What's that?
You said 127.
Is what we have left, is probably
in the construction.
what we have left total.
Total. Okay.
So we're
Total
working off of essentially the donations right now.
Right.
But we are still interested in getting some roughed in electrical and some heat, insulation in the exterior walls. And it all depends on the number. I mean, we've had a challenging year with the loss of Dawn. So, Justin, luckily we made a tackle. She had an amazing spreadsheet that we're still working from. So the committee is asking, to have 6,000 put on the 1856 budget, which you're not seeing here because it didn't exist, because it didn't get funded last year. But the main reason is we are writing some grants for matching funds. So we're really trying to keep a pot of money there so we have matching funds and we don't have to try to figure out where that's coming from. And going to Mike and what Chuck talked about earlier, if this is going to be our recreation area, having those trails out there and having a place that people could have fundraisers or events or fun things for the town, having that building open and usable to have for not only kitchen facility, but the
We
catering
talked
facility.
about that in our meetings as well, that
Going to the bathroom.
That's the sad part. For the town's benefit, can you mention what the capacity is in this building and how things that it can be rented for? Because I know we've talked about.
Well, yes, I'd have
From the
to,
town.
I'd have to pull up my capacity numbers again. I think I emailed you
Yeah.
that, didn't I?
But there
So
are
I need to
things
be able to
like
find-
potentially hosting
Well,
weddings,
Oh
right?
gosh, we'd be able to have weddings there, class reunions, baby showers, bridal showers, end of life celebrations. I fielded questions. Initially, the school came to us. They wanted the building to be done to have the prom there this year. But they're having it at Cumston, which I'm sure is gonna be interesting how they pull that off. But, so having events like that, another person in town being able to have a family gathering there for their father's 90th birthday, they ended up having to go to Wayne and rent something in Wayne so that they could have the capacity. I'd have to find my email to Kayla with
I
those
believe you
numbers.
said there's a catering kitchen.
Yes,
too,
we'll have a
so-
catering kitchen, so I never like to go off of my memory, but it would have the same rental basis that Cumston does, where in-town people have it at a real minimum, and out-of-town people would have
I think I just found it. I think
Yeah,
it
I
said
found it too.
172 seating
Yeah.
or standing.
Yes.
It's pretty significant. So events like the Grand Platinum thing that's happening in 2 weeks, instead of being held at Cumston, if there were two different ones going on,
Yes.
there could be one here too, or, which is pretty cool.
Kristen,
Yes.
what was in the budget last year for heat? Wasn't it 8,000?
I think Justin stuck a
can tell you.
number on there. It was
Yep. Give me just a
8450. It was 8450.
So it's less this year?
It's less because now I've got some historic numbers. And it would probably be around 4,000, but I don't want to say 4,000 and have propane go up or have something happen to one of the Renais and we need it repaired.
I know.
So I think if we say 6,000, that would cover the cost of heating, and anything that we may or may not anticipate. We've had a huge response this year of, people donating. I mean, Kevin Wing came up and took down the old maple here that was at risk of falling on the new roof. We had the pines that came down out back, removed. So we've had a lot of donated services from folks, but we've had some really nice, significant donations too. But, knowing that we've got these trails going in and having this as a hub, if people want to have, a birthday party or have an event and use the trails out back, I think,
I think the building is still on town property. I think to ask for the heat is the most minimal thing that you could ever ask for. The taxpayers.
So tell your friends, Dave.
I was shocked it didn't pass.
I know, and, so I'm hoping that, all I can say is I know that this project has been a labor of love for me, but it's been a bone of contention for
Others.
So, where else are you going to find, that property smack dab in the middle of Monmouth property? I mean, that property
Go for it.
so that's my request from our 1856 committee, is to have that.
You're still working to get, state.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the 3 grants. So Northern Borders, working with, I said this at our committee meeting, I said Olympia Snow. I don't know where that came from. Susan Collins's office, like going way back in time. Susan Collins to federally directed spending, which, as Joel knows, helped out tremendously with, the North Monmouth Water Project. We've already had an initial meeting with, gentleman from her office and talked about the guidelines for that. And then the historic preservation bond, which we're waiting for that to get through whatever is going on at the state level. But those all require some sort of match, and it can't be in kind. It has to be with Susan Collins's office. It has to be actual cash sitting there. So, that's why I'm like, if I had to fundraise for $6,000 to make up the difference, where does the money, is it this pocket or this pocket? So, but it is, we've invested $1.7 million in that project. And to maintain the building and what we've accomplished there, the exterior envelope is complete. And we'd like to be able to start doing things on the interior to get it over the finish line. So that is the ask from the 1856 committee.
I think when you look at the potential revenue that this could bring in, worth it when you look at the future.
Yes.
A lot of people are looking at the right now and it's like, oh, we're spending more money. But this is something that has potential to bring more people to Monmouth and spend money in other businesses as well. Because, they're coming in, maybe they'll stop at one of the stores on Main Street, or that maybe they'll use the bakery for their event that's going on, which would be great. Maybe there could be some sort of deal between, if you book your event at the 1856 building, maybe if you then use Apple Valley Bakery, you get a small discount or something. That's something that there's potential for to keep business in town. It's my goal to bring more visitors to town, to spend money in town and help the town's economy in general.
And Kayla and I have talked a lot about how, the visions that she has for, a 5K or
a lot of events
a lot of different events would focus on using this property and having a place that has bathrooms and a catering kitchen.
Motion.
So that's my ask, and if anybody wants to make a motion to add that to that line, then
I'll move to add that to the line. The $6,000 funding heating for the 1856 Academy building.
I'll second it.
There was a motion by Kayla, second by Chris to add $6,000 the requirement for, or to a line item or.
Yep, just to clarify, is that its own, warrant article, or do you want it added to this building? 'Cause, I mean, this is one property, but just to clarify, when I write the warrant, do you want it to be its own question, like Compton and Library, like, those are all individual questions?
That's a great question. I'd be willing to support the motion if it were a separate article.
I'm okay with that. I think if it's, let people have all of the info.
Yes.
Maybe, just explain what the goals are.
Don't try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Separate.
Okay, so it's your document. You can present it any way you'd like. I just wanted to make sure that I knew how you wanted it presented. That's all.
Tell us to support our investment of $1.7 million.
Yeah. I know. And I've tried that. So, as I always say, tell your friends. So, thank you. Oh, we didn't
Got a vote. We got a vote.
So-
Oh, we didn't vote?
No.
Oh, all those in favor?
What says Mark?
Sleep.
I'm sorry, I'm going to abstain. I was away during the last discussion, so I don't know exactly what we're voting on. So I will just abstain.
Thank you.
The library, if you look at it, there aren't any, I'm going to present this tonight, there aren't any real initiatives in there. The only increase is the staff wages, which is just along with what the general, that's what the union contract, so we've been applying that to every other department. The library's been able to stay very steady over the years because it gets a lot of its support from the Friends of the Library whenever it needs anything. So it really is a very bare bones budget, and whenever they have an initiative, they've been very lucky to be able to go to the Friends and get whatever they need. They are still looking for a book vendor. There's still no real solution on that. All the libraries are struggling with it. But
That article.
Book vendor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A huge library book vendor went out of business.
Retailer.
Yeah. I couldn't remember which, but I read the article and about it, so. Yeah. Yeah. On to the streetlights.
We're on the streetlights.
I do have the survey results. So we did not get as many responses on the streetlights as I hoped for the survey. I did have Dennis repost it on Monday just in case there was anyone who forgot to do it, and we had only gotten a few more. So even with the first survey being a little confusing because I worded it bad, I'm sorry, everyone. That there's still, even with, when I looked at the feedback, more people wanted it than didn't want it. It was the first time we did the survey, we got 33 responses and 19 people wanted it, 12 did not. And of those wants, I think there was only one that was incorrect in terms of their comments didn't match the desire to have the streetlights. And for those, the option people preferred were 11 people of the 33 wanted option 4, which was for was the light design I believe Chris had found was most historically appropriate. And then in terms
The lantern design, was it one of the lantern designs? Okay.
And then in terms of the pathway the lights would follow, 23 of the 33 people in the first survey wanted it to go from Academy Road to Maple Street. And then the second time we've had the survey where it's much clearer language, we only got 25 responses. Again, there were 18 people who voted yes, only 7 who voted no. In terms of the design, 13 of the 25 voted for option 4. And in terms of the path for the lights to follow, 19 of the 25 wanted option 2, which was Academy Road to Maple Street. And then for the feedback that wasn't just, NA or none, There seems to be still a little bit of confusion about TIF funding and what we could spend it on. Unfortunately, we can't spend it to reduce taxes. I know if we could, that's something that would be amazing. But it has to be spent on very specific types of projects that benefit the TIF district, which this does fall under, because that's how we're funding the sidewalks. So there had been some comments about that, and comments about using this funding instead for the fire department. And I don't believe that we can do that based on the conversations with the UTV and how it has to serve a certain percentage to.
Not to the extent that we were hoping.
Yeah. So just those are some of the comments. There were some people who had asked for what the costs were. So the second time we had sent out the survey, we had included what the estimated costs were based on what we'd previously been told. And, but there were a lot of people who were looking forward to it and said that it was good news. They were excited about it. So just based on this, the people who did respond seem in favor of the streetlights when you look at a majority vote. And I will be sharing these with Justin so he can put them with the minutes if people would like. Just removing where the names were there, because there was a spot for optional names, and I'm going to remove that so people don't know who did.
Well, I make a motion that we advise the town manager to work with the engineer to come up with a plan for the Maple Street to Academy scope with the option 4, which is the lantern style antique looking design for the streetlights.
Before you vote on that, I just want to clarify something, and I'll leave this to you whether you want this to come back. So these are these are styles.
Yes.
And under number 4, when I tell the lighting vendor that, he's going to come back with 2 or 3 manufacturers that you get to pick from that basically look the same, but you can pick.
Yes.
Would you like to pick those, or would you like to just pass that on to, me and Tony deciding, or the engineer and me and Tony, or
So I
whoever?
think in printed that. So that's the one.
I'm always happy to pass the buck to have you guys make the decision. If you want us to take it over, then that's fine.
Well, it's there's different bases and all kinds.
Right, there's all kinds of different stuff. Some of it is going to be kind of operational, like what are we not going to run into with the sidewalk plow?
Yeah.
Right, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You care? That level?
No, I'm fine with whatever you choose. I mean, I've looked at them and I don't have a huge opinion one way or the other. So whatever the majority decides is fine.
So I'll amend my motion to say for the town manager to make the final, the town manager and Public Works
Yes. Yeah.
director to make the final.
Very good.
Decision.
One that doesn't have the line,
Yeah.
like down, looks like lantern.
Yes, right. We're all
Yes.
on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the people who responded requested.
Okay.
So,
Very good.
hopefully, if we do more surveys in the future,
No, it's the one
people
without the
will
line.
respond a little bit more. It was posted on the town's Facebook page.
Second.
I'll second that.
Or whatever. I'm not going to repeat all these. So, made a motion and Chris seconded it to what Kat said.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
I know what he meant.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Here is number a warrant of the year 25, which is warrant for February 4th.
I'll read this off. I did put in front of you the budget to actuals through December. I
Yes.
should have mentioned that when I did my budget report, but I forgot. So take those, and if you want to ask me questions about it, just bring it to the next meeting and I'm happy to go over it. I forgot to mention it. I apologize. Bergeron Protective Clothing, this is fire stuff, Hearst Repair and Firehouse Detergent, whatever that means. $2,004. Bernstein Sure, this is our assessing attorneys, $1,097. Blue Rock Earthworks Materials Transport for the transfer station, $2,772. Catalyst Citizen Engagement, that's our website, $3,995. Fabian Oil, Fuel and Propane, $1,018. Other Fabian Oil, $6,307. Kennebec Valley Humane Society, rental for the animal control stuff, $2,002. Monmouth Sanitary District, $1,705. Municipal Leasing Consultant, $1,600. It's the fees to initiate the lease and the loans for the lighting project that we're doing. New England Salt Company, $5,163. Northeast Emergency Apparatus, maintenance on the 2 fire engines, $1,213. RSU number 2, $563,369. State of Maine Bureau of Motor Vehicles, $15,003. Train, some of the more of the work at Compson Hall for the HVAC system, $22,410. For a warrant total of $638,438.62.
I make a motion, we accept warrant fiscal year 2025 warrant, I'm not sure what the number is, of February 4, 2026.
I'll second that.
There's a motion by Ken, second by Chris, to approve warrant. The warrant, February 4th, 25-26. All those in favor?
I vote
Before
yes.
Before we adjourn, I'm looking at this proposed transfer fee schedule that Tony gave to us. And it seems, there's about 10 items here: tires, air conditioners, other appliances, computers, and propane tanks. Those items, is there a reason why we couldn't just start charging the new fees now?
No.
Okay, so the only question would be on the schedule would be like whether or not we're going to allow household brush or commercial brush, which we can discuss at a later date.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then also whether or not we're going to do demolition, debris, or bulky waste, whether we're going to accept those, weigh them, or just not accept them, right? So if we could exclude those 2 issues from this list, would there be an interest if I made a motion that we just raise the prices on these items starting right away? Starting as soon as.
Certainly could, Ken. The other thing that I just want you to just realize is that at your next meeting, the public hearing is for the budget. So if you wanted to actually have that item be on an agenda, we could just add another public hearing on those fees. You don't have to, but it's just a lot of times you change fees, you kind of offer the public a chance to.
Okay, fair enough.
But that's totally up to you. I just wanted to say that it'd be easy to do.
Then could you make sure that this is on the next agenda?
It's here.
It's true. I just wanted to make that point.
We raise these prices?
You said it at the meeting, raise the prices.
Well,
I mean,
should we make
they're
it
relative.
effective immediately though? Because then people don't have notice.
I think maybe,
Pick a day.
why don't, why don't we say February 1st and we'll post that these are the new fees as of February 1st. Whatever, we're at February 1st. I don't want to go back in time. Let's not redo.
Okay.
Yes, March 1st, exactly.
I
Sorry.
make a motion that we accept these fees as the new fees, excluding the household brush issue and the demolition, debris, bulky waste issue, effective March 1.
Okay.
And all of it will
So the intention is to use the current fees for those items till decisions are made in the future.
You're right.
On the other items that you're excluding, like the demolition debris. Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Decide those at a later time.
Okay, very good.
But it seems to me like these are all very reasonable fees. We shouldn't wait. There's no reason to wait because I think it's very reasonable to set these fees. So I made a motion.
That's what we're paying for a tire now.
Exactly. So
We're just passing on the cost.
I'll second the motion.
There we go.
And so all those in favor of doing this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion passes. Here's the.
I know that will make
And
Just
very.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Right.
Thanks, Mark.
I did, but only
Thank you.
about right away down
Good
there.
night.
Yeah.
That's stupid. That he's got, that.
Give his house.
Oh, I because, yeah, they was in Virginia.
So I'm glad I retired so I can come to these on a regular.
Sure. Congratulations.
Great.
Hey, how's it going with,
Yeah.
what's going on?